I couldn't wait any longer. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check, mic check.
Yes, sir. What it do, what it don't, what it is, and what it ain't. It's your boy, Don Otaku, aka Don Solo, aka Solo the Don, aka Solo D Swaggy, aka the Xbox Killer. And this is it's not, Dual-Wield Gaming Podcast. And of course, it's episode 39. I think it's 39. And of course, I'm here with my co-host, Subegos, aka Subeg, aka the Green Thumb, aka the Gaming Gardener, aka what you got for me today?
AKA Hideo Kojima, #1 fanboy. Let's go.
So, how are you doing?
Man, I'm I got to hit the gym today. I don't always get to hit the gym before the pod, but I'm luckily got to hit the gym today. I'm good though. I'm good. I mean, the news ain't so good, but I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just
That's what's
chilling.
up.
You know what I mean? Nothing too
Yes,
crazy. I was running late. Had a lot going on. Had to do some errands before I came, but we here, ready to go. But yeah. But I just can't stand this whole Kojima thing that you got going on now. So because of that,
Go, bruh.
I just had to make the tough decision to replace you.
That's how funny.
And I think it's time to bring in the replacement now. Welcome to the show. There we go. RK Robert Kellett. Hold on. Let me get some AK. We got RK, aka Robert Kellett, aka Sonic's #1 fan, aka the Sega Chronicles, aka one of the greatest editors of LordsOfGaming.net. Here with us today. What's going on, RK?
You're making Lord Cognito proud of your intro like that. Thank you. I'm doing good, guys. It's awesome being part of this. Hopefully, my video and audio quality is okay. I'm using the Nintendo iToy as my camera, and it's going good.
Yeah.
You see my Legion laptop kind of blurring in the background behind with Sonic's head, but that's okay.
Yeah, you sound good.
Right.
You sound good.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been doing good. I've been testing out the kill switch, and that's the issue with the Joy-Cons. So I gotta the review's gonna be fun to write. Look forward to that once I put some more time with the thing.
Okay.
But so far it's going good. But I'm guest starring in this awesome podcast for a reason.
Oh yeah. Got a lot going on in the news today, but we'll get into that a little bit.
Round two of
But
You forgot to mention that he's actually my replacement, right?
yeah, so RK is replacing Subeg because I can't be on the show with a Kojima lover. It's just
But he's a Sonic lover though.
I mean, I would take a Sonic lover over a Kojima lover because at least Sonic has some redeeming qualities.
Damn.
Doesn't the Metal Gear series have a decent soundtrack? I know Metal Gear Rising has a great soundtrack. I don't think that's part of the
That was all platinum. That was not Kojima.
That's the only Metal Gear game that clicked with me. So I really don't get the hype for Death Stranding, but hopefully, Subeg proves me wrong at some point with his content for that.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say before we get into the topics and everything, I'll actually start with arcade. What you been playing? What you been up to?
I'm currently playing Ruffy. It's this 3D platformer that's
Ruffy
out
and
on
the
all
Riverside.
yes, it's on all major platforms. I unfortunately did not meet the embargo time for this, but hopefully by the end of the week the game's finished, and I'm really liking it so far. I'm playing it on PS5, and I really like its mechanics are genuinely really inventive. Like you're able to kind of basically copy like elements or colors or like icons or symbols and use that to kind of solve puzzles. It's incredibly ingenious in how they handle the mechanic. It feels very natural and intuitive. And thanks to the game's very generous like hover jump that you have, like exploration is effortless. It feels really fun to explore, and I quite like the game so far. And it runs really well on PS5 at a pretty stable 60 FPS.
Okay. Yeah, I tried the demo. It didn't click with me at the time, but I didn't put enough time into it really. But I liked the idea of the mechanics with the copy and paste, and the like art style itself was really cool. But I didn't put enough time to really jive with it.
For me, the art style is the most impressive thing about the game, because it combines. It has like a Paper Mario like effect where you have like these 3D environments, but you have but all the NPCs and characters are more or less like 2D sprites, and it feels pretty good. It reminds, in terms of other indie games that did stuff like this, it reminds me a lot of Bug Fables.
Yeah.
Which I didn't beat, but I put a lot of time into on Switch, and I really loved my time with it.
Okay.
In terms of other games,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I cut you off, but I'm the guest. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just about to ask what else you've been playing.
I've also been just casually playing random games on Switch too, like Mario Kart World Free Roam is just such a turn your brain off and vibes feel. Like I've just been casually doing like P-switch missions, trying to get the Peach medallions and the question mark blocks, and I already know that, I'm not unlocking anything from this, but it's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm just kind of enjoying the music, enjoying the really good driving elements, and that, I feel like the lack of collectibles, like having substantial like rewards, like you unlock costumes with the food item. Why can't you unlock like rare costumes after you hit thresholds with the P-switches or the Peach medallions?
Yeah.
Or like super NPCs or something when you find enough of the P-switches. That would be a cool reward or something, but it is what it is. Nintendo made a mode that basically let you just explore this giant world that they created, and they said, have fun. They didn't really say, you gotta unlock this, and this. It feels like what Mario Odyssey did, but without the carrot at the end of the stick.
Yeah.
If that's a way to describe it.
I can see that.
But yeah, I also on and off. Recently, GameStop had for the Nintendo Switch 2s. Now they're in stores. So there's demo stations where you can try out Mario Kart World and the Game of the Year in the Making, DK Bonanza. And this demo I played it in handheld mode. So when I played it originally at the Nintendo Experience event, it was docked. This is the first time I played it in handheld mode when I went to the GameStop that's closest to me, and man, I can't believe how smooth it feels in handheld mode. Like, it might be the VR in effect in handheld mode kind of masking whatever frame drops that might be happening, but it feels so good. It feels so good. I was kind of worried in handheld mode, like, how well is this gonna run? Because like you're destroying things, like there's so much stuff happening, and I was like, but it felt silky smooth. The two or so times I played the demo, and the music, bro, the freaking music. I'm sure all of us have been listening to the Sticker Bush Symphony remix, like or maybe just me, the Sticker Bush Symphony remix that they had in the crib. yo, I had romance. He is listening to that remix, and even the sound effects in the background. I'm like, the soundtrack, man. Like, look, I'm Lord Sonic, but I love Donkey Kong Country, and hearing that Nintendo quality soundtrack.
David Wise, one of the greatest composers of all time.
Absolutely, his
And
score in Tropical.
he does not
Forget
do
about
enough
it.
work. Like, he doesn't have enough work, but everything he has touched has been fire.
Gold, pure gold. Man, like it's July 17th. That's gonna be such a special day. Such a special day. But yeah, the music is really, really good, and I really love the musical theme of Paul that you get when you turn into the Bonanza forms. Like, there's different themes for each form, and I love the Kong one. It's so freaking catchy. Man, DK and music is always a winning combination, and they just nailed it here.
Yeah, it has been cool that they have stuck with this like music theme since the GameCube. It's really just like every time you think of DK, there's always some kind of musical element to it.
Absolutely, because they that's, and it's been going back in house with Nintendo's internal teams for Donkey Kong. Like, it's so interesting. It's a full circle moment, because I remember Jungle Beat that was developed by the Mario Galaxy team.
Yeah.
And look at that, the core 3D Mario team is once again making a Donkey Kong game, and you have the music theme in there in places. It's so good. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, definitely the most anticipated for the month and the
For me,
year, honestly.
Honestly, I don't care about any other release coming out this year. DK Bonanza is definitely, like, just from what I've experienced in the demos I played and what I've seen, easily within like the top 5 games I'm looking forward to the most. And it reminds me a lot of, like, maybe talking too much, but when Final Fantasy 16 came out, that was my personal game of the year. I easily see DK Bonanza being my personal game of the year, and I'm just gonna be sitting here going, okay, I don't agree with this, but okay. When something like Death Stranding 2 wins game of the year this year, I'll be like, okay, I'm glad people love it, I'm glad people enjoy it, but that's not my game of the year.
That's not happening. Ain't that right, Subeg? That's not happening,
I actually have a
right?
question. So for Donkey Kong Bonanza, the demo, did they like, or how many like levels were in it, or like how long did you get to play it?
The Nintendo Experience demo, it was, I had like, they gave me I think maybe 15-20 minutes with it, and it started out in the initial like mines.
Yeah.
Before DK finds the horde of bananas, and then it cut to like the first like tutorial area until you broken one of like the Void Company switches or something, and then you go to another layer, and then it reset back to the starting area of like the initial layer. And it's the same thing with the demos that are in the GameStops and Targets and everything right now.
Got it.
But the main difference is, in the GameStop demos, you can use the Kong Bonanza, and Pauline is part of Pauline's on DK.
Yeah.
So
When it
all
was
of
the
these
Odd Rock before.
Yeah. Odd Rock was all over the place in the Nintendo Experience demo, but you know, Nintendo like hiding things, even though it kind of leaked well ahead of time.
I'm pretty sure some heads rolled at Nintendo Korea when that happened.
Nintendo, like, what?
When
What do you mean?
Nintendo Korea had leaked it.
They're like, what do you mean this leaked? But yeah, like, I can't wait for the game. And if you have guys any genuine questions about it, feel free to ask and I can answer them.
Oh, see, I'm trying at this point after the direct. I'm going in blind from here. I've already seen everything that I haven't even read any of the preview. I shouldn't say I haven't. I just like read the headlines, but from everyone that's played it, it's only been overwhelmingly positive so far. So, but I'm not gonna.
They never walked.
Yeah, we gonna talk about that because, you know, we got a trend that's starting today called #Subeg was wrong, and you know it's gonna continue for the rest of the year all the way up to the Game Awards.
Oh, come on. Nice. All Lognet fam here.
But yeah, no doubt. Anything else, or has that all you've been playing this week?
Honestly, that's kind of Ruffy, Mario Kart World, on and off Sonic stuff on Switch 2. That's something I've been trying to do because just casually playing the series on Switch 2. Because I got some Frontiers and Origins on sale. Because I thought, hey, I got a portable thing. I might as well get them on there since they're cheap. And there's also Nintendo. I'm trying my best not to bite on all those eShop sales like you have Final Fantasy, you have the Batman games, Borderlands, and I'm like, I need to save money. I can't be spending this. Hopefully I don't give in and get all the collections, because apparently they run a lot better on Switch 2. But that's it for me.
All right, no doubt. Then we got Subeg. What up? What you been on? What you been playing?
Yeah, man, I got a pretty big assortment of titles that I've been dipping in and out of. I picked back up Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
Nice.
I'm on chapter 11 now, so I think that there's 17 chapters in the game, so I'm close to being done with it. I was talking to Don yesterday, but before when I booted it up on my PC when it came out, it actually ran like pretty bad.
Yeah.
But lately, I don't know if it's like a driver update or something, but it's been running like super smooth. Like almost everything that I've been playing on my PC has been running really smooth. Like I'm getting pretty solid frames, 120 FPS, 4K. I run everything at 4K, so amazing game. I never got to really play Ninja Gaiden 2 back in the day, so it's nice to see the flaws in it, because it is very flawed, especially with the camera. But it's so slick. The stylish action is just special, and I'm so excited for Ninja Gaiden 4. But Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, trying to finish it, trying to at least go for it.
You always have to remember that you're playing the ganked version. You're playing the worst version of the game. I mean, shouldn't say the worst version, because the Master Collection, Sigma Collection was the worst version. But
yeah,
OG Ninja Gaiden 2 is obviously, the camera's still bad, but besides the camera, it's perfection.
Yeah, for sure. But I will say the story is pretty bad.
That's every Ninja Gaiden. Not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but it's fun though. It's fun. It's so satisfying doing that like move where you grab the enemy in the air, twist them up, and like slam them down.
Izuma drop.
Yeah, it's so fire when you land that one. But Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, trying to get through it. I'm still on Rematch, of course. I'm low-key addicted to it, not gonna lie. I play at least a few matches every night, if not more than that. But for some reason, I'm actually a lot worse at goalie than I was when I initially started. like I'm making too many mistakes, man. Like I'm sliding when I need to dive, or I dive when I need to slide. So it's like I'm just making so many dumb mistakes when I'm goalie. But I'm trying to get better. I kind of want to get the 1,000 on this one. I'm pretty close. I have 75% of the achievements, but I just need to score more goals, and I need to protect the goal. So I just need to keep doing that. But Rematch is amazing, man. I'm having so much fun playing it. You got anything to say about Rematch?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, we're already on it, so might as well talk about it. But yeah, we played a couple matches yesterday, or really played like 5 matches. Won all of them. Like we were destroying them.
Absolutely.
I think we only had like one close match, really. But yeah, this game is the return of arcade sports that gaming has needed. Mario has basically been the only thing, but Strikers was such a disappointment that this is basically my Strikers for now.
Hey, you know what? We getting the GOAT, the original Mario Strikers on NSO. So we can at least we have that.
I mean, it's okay, but I would rather have something with matchmaking that I could actually play. Like that was Strikers Battle League was good if you're just playing against your friends, but the online experience was where they dropped the ball, because you couldn't get a team of 4 of your friends and play online against another team of 4, which I found just, especially with the whole like league system, building a league just to only be able to play with 2 people at a time, I found that just ridiculous.
personally, I just didn't really vibe with the fact that there was no effort at all to have any single player mode. So I remember Striker's Charge, at the very least, had some type of mission mode, and like in the old lot of Mario sports games, they made an effort to have some type of single player campaign, or they brought the RPG elements from the handheld installments into the Switch, into the console experience, because the Switch is a mobile console and a handheld. But with Strikers Battle League, they didn't even bother. It's like, hey, just versus matches and that's it. And like, hey, you could say, well, Mario Kart's like that too, but guess what? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has God knows how many tracks. So you have a lot of content with just by that alone. With Strikers Battle League, it's just the game. And if you're not really into online, like I don't really play online that much, then it's just kind of
for me.
It's one of the few Nintendo games I just sold and traded in after I got them. Like I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, for me, I don't really care about single player modes in those type of games. Like people always shit on Mario Tennis Aces, but that is a top 10 Nintendo Switch game for me, because the online mode, when people were actually playing it, because there's nobody on that damn game now, but when the base was there and the mechanics of that game, that is my favorite Mario Tennis. I'll say the GBA version is still my favorite because the RPG part was really good. But as far as the competitive scene for Mario Tennis Aces, that is one of the best competitive games on the Switch. One of the best online games.
I liked how in Aces it combined, like it took elements from Power Tennis in terms of like, hey, you have different shooting options, also combining aspects from the 3DS games that they did, where you have like, you go on different like panels, you have different types of shots you can do, and I really appreciated that. And it kind of, and like and they updated over time with extra characters, and it didn't feel like a half-baked experience at launch. It felt like they added more content as it came out. Same with the Mario Golf game. I never played that one, but I think that. But yeah, you're making me want to try out that football experience.
Yeah, so Mario Tennis Aces was basically, they turned tennis into a fighting game somehow, and they did a really good job of like with those new mechanics that they added. But back to Rematch, it's what we needed for sure, because we don't have FIFA Street, we don't have any of the street games. We don't have THQ to bring the like Slugfest and the other type of like Blitz, all of those type of games. Those are gone. It's really just been Mario Sports. And then usually you'll find like some kind of indie trying to bring back that style, and it just never lives up to expectations. But Rematch has met all of my expectations, besides the bugginess, because I was gonna set it up so I can show all of these clips where the ball would just go through me, or I would have the ball, nobody's around me, and the ball would disappear, and somehow they have the ball instead. And I had a bunch of clips like that, but I didn't get to set it up beforehand. But besides the bugs in this game, everything else is near perfect as far as the experience goes.
But Don, you know, it's not a bug. You just activating the special ghost mode where you become you can't hit the ball, or the ball can't touch you. It's a feature. Come on. But in all seriousness, hopefully they iron that stuff out. That's bad for a competitive experience.
No, for sure. I actually have been dealing with like issues in that game that aren't like I feel like they're not server related. Like a few times yesterday I joined a match and like I couldn't even move. Like everything was working fine around me, but I couldn't move at all. Like I was stuck. So it's like I just had to exit out the app and just join it back in.
Was your character keep posing or something, or they just the model was just stuck?
No, like it didn't even seem like the character was like anything wrong with the character. It just seemed like, I don't even know, honestly. Like it launched me as goalie, and the how it starts is like your team, if you get the ball, it kicks it to the goalie so the goalie can like clear it out. I started as goalie, and I got the ball, couldn't move, and then he just dropped the ball, and then like the opponent scored on me. So it's like just
Wow.
little issues, but outside of that though, usually just a restart, and it's fine. It sucks that like you have to take the loss for something like that though,
Yeah.
but overall though, not too bad. There's some server related stuff like the internet maybe like not being as good, but overall though, like I don't have too many complaints about the game. It's fun. I will say, so, especially lately, a lot of the teammates that I match up with, they're ball hogs. Like they do not want to pass at all. Like literally at all. Like you could just be spamming the call for pass button, and it's just like they just want to ignore it the whole time. But I understand, people are trying to learn the game. People are trying to, show off what they got. But I love rematch, man. I'm hella enjoying it. I play like every night though, but. And I was happy to play a few matches with Don the other night. We got some few wins. We were passing the ball back to each other. Getting some assists and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
The alley-oop off the wall, it works every time.
For sure, it really does. It really does, because the goalie goes for it. Like the goalie goes for the ball, so it's like it's almost like a free net at that point to just shoot and get a score. But yeah, rematch. Outside of rematch, still on Yakuza 0. I think I've completed like 15 side missions at this point. So I'm really trying to, go through everything the game has to offer, not just, mainlining the golden path. But still on Yakuza 0, still on Death Stranding. But yeah, really the big main one that I picked back up was Ninja Gaiden 2.
Okay. But that's been all for you?
Yeah, that's been all.
I ain't no doubt. As for myself, I've been playing rematch, like I was saying earlier, but obviously, still on Fortnite and been going hard with that in Blitz mode and OG and the regular super season of Battle Royale. But I did go back to. I picked up a game because me and my girl just decided, hey, you know what? It's time to go back to a tried and true classic, and that is Grounded.
Nice.
So me and my girl have put way too much time in this game, but we are now trying to get the, like, when we basically finished the game last time, it was we were good, like done with it, but we didn't get the good ending of the game. But we put so much time that we were just like, you know what, like I want to get the good end, but at the same time I'm done for now. So now we finally decided, okay, we're gonna come back, do the good ending, save Wendell. Spoiler if you don't know who that is. I mean, I guess it's not a spoiler if you don't know who it is. But yeah, we're getting the good ending. There are multiple endings, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we're back in the backyard, and it's been a lot of fun to come back to. The bugs are still annoying as hell. They just do not let up, bro. Like you just trying to mind your business, and then you get this stink bug coming out of nowhere trying to end your life for no reason. But yeah, this game is just a lot of fun. One of the best survival games, if not the best survival game that I've ever played.
And the ticket came from Obsidian.
Yep.
Like you never
The
would have expected that.
goats. Would I not have expected that? Maybe a little, to a certain extent, but Obsidian has gone. I guess they never went out of their RPG wheelhouse, but you can RPG. I mean, Grounded has a lot of RPG elements. It's just not fully an RPG. But with games like Stick of Truth and like they've gone outside of their wheelhouse plenty of times before, so I wouldn't say it's super expected, or it's not that expected, but it's
Pikachu was so good, man.
yeah, it was. I still say to this day, Obsidian has never missed post like Alpha Protocol, I guess. But yeah, man. Other than that, obviously on my Switch 2, I still don't have any gameplay. I still haven't set up the dock in here, but it's fine. I'm finishing up Fantasy Life I, and I'm gonna have a review out probably this weekend. So RK, get ready to edit a really long review because it's gonna be really long.
I gotta get to work on writing again myself, so it'll be a good refresher.
But yeah, really, that's all I've been playing on my Switch 2. I'm trying to think. Besides Fantasy Life I think that's really all I've been on when it comes to the Switch 2.
Oh, if you're looking for a good racing game on sale, for the North American eShop, they have Burnout Paradise for like $4.
Oh, yeah, I actually got it.
Nice, yeah, I got that on the sale, and I was just showing it off to one of my old coworker buddies. I just kept crashing, and he just got a kick out of it.
Actually, I did boot up a little bit some more backwards compatible games just to see how they run. I tried out Saints Row the Third, and it still runs at 30. It's not a good 30 at all. It's a very stuttery 30.
I think isn't there an option to unlock the frame rate or something in the options menu, maybe? Because I'm pretty sure
I don't remember seeing it because I did go through the settings, but maybe I just overlooked it. But
people said it runs at 60 on Switch too.
Okay, I might gotta look again then. I know there's one for the resolution. I saw that option to either stick with dynamic or have a set resolution.
I think that's what triggers it. Just turn off the dynamic resolution option, I think, and it should unlock performance how it originally ran. Before, like, they had to scale things back because they just did not optimize the game at all for Switch.
All right, I'm gonna give it a try, but yeah. Saints Row the Third, still one of the greatest intros to a game. I love that game. Spoiler alert for, what is it, like 15-year-old game now? When did it come out? Like
came
2010?
Out 10, 11, I think.
Yeah, so it'll be like 14, 15 years. Y'all are fine. Anyways, the intro with like Johnny Gat, RIP, bro. Like that scene hit me, but like jumping out of the plane and then Power by Kanye West starts playing, that nothing will ever top that, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That is one of the best intros ever made. What were you about to say?
I was saying, like, the soundtrack in that game was really good.
Saints Row always had a better soundtrack than GTA. Any GTA game. Saints Row 2, Saints Row the Third, both of them have way better soundtracks than Grand Theft Auto. I'll give San Andreas, and that's really it. But that's because it's classic hip hop. But like, I have to give it to Saints Row when it comes to the overall soundtracks. They were just so much better. And the fact that you were able to actually control, like, you can make your own mixtape, which for whatever reason GTA still hasn't done. Like, I've always hated that in GTA 5 you're supposed to be in the modern era, but you can't use your phone to play music. You have to listen to the radio, and you have to, like, nobody does that in 2013 to 2025. Like, give me the option to make my own playlist, add my own songs, and play them when I want to.
Yeah, have the option to play Live and Learn from Sonic Adventure 2 while shooting everyone down. Come on.
Bro,
that sounds like a great idea.
I remember San Andreas on the Xbox with the custom playlist, and you can add your own songs from the Xbox. That shit will always be one of the greatest features.
That sounds awesome. I was just joking, but I didn't know you can. I can actually do that.
Yeah, only on the Xbox version, you can do that. the same thing with like Burnout 3 Takedown. You could add your own music. The Xbox was special, but yeah, man, that's really all I've been playing though. So with that, let's go ahead and get into some of the quicker news before we get into the big one. So there was a Capcom showcase that happened like literally right after we recorded the podcast last week, and they showed off some Resident Evil Requiem gameplay, and it looked really good. But one of the key features is that you will have a third person and first person mode that you can switch between. So the fans of Resident Evil 7 and Village, you get your first person view, and the fans of like Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 4, you got your third person. So they're appeasing both fans of the genre. But you know who they're not appeasing though? They're not trying to appease the fans like me and Subeg. I don't know about RK here, but the fans like me and Subeg who want that online co-op experience, that Resident Evil 5 experience.
We're 6.
No, not 6.
You immediately shut him down. Come on.
Don't it? You just
Man.
triggered me a little bit because Resident Evil 6, possibly one of the worst games. Like one of the games that I was most hyped about. That was the biggest letdown. I don't even want to talk about it. But so there were rumors of Resident Evil 9 being this online open world game. We covered it a couple of times in the podcast, and that I was excited about this game. Obviously, you hear all the people online, though, the single player only crowds, who they're always the loudest ones. Every time a franchise goes the multiplayer route or the online route, you hear them the loudest. They're complaining, blah blah blah. But me, genuinely excited to have a good online Resident Evil game, taking a step forward, trying out open world. One of my favorite zombie games of all time, Dying Light, to this day still the greatest zombie game. I'm
Fun
over
fact
here like,
about Dying.
hey, go ahead.
Fun fact. The main character in Dying Light is voiced by Roger Craig Smith, who voices Sonic the Hedgehog.
No wonder I hated his voice. No, I'm just kidding.
I was trying to make a joke and you... Okay,
No,
I derailed. I apologize.
No, you're good. But yeah, I love Dying Light. That is my favorite zombie game. The co-op in there, like the drop in, drop out co-op was amazing. The parkour, all of that. Obviously, I wasn't expecting Resident Evil to just go heavy into like the parkour elements and stuff like that. But I wanted to see how they would handle an open world in the Resident Evil setting. And that was what I was looking forward to. But we got the trailer, we got some gameplay, and then we got to hear from the developers where they said, yeah, we were actually building it as an online game and an open world, but then we realized that the fans just they want the same experience that we've been giving them since Resident Evil 4. And I'm over here like, bro, what about me though?
There's a reason why they did that, Don. There's a reason why, and it's not because of the fans.
What's the reason?
Don't mind the background noise of the police cars. So, the reason why they probably did that is because RE engine can't handle open world games without major performance problems, as we saw with Dragon's Dogma, and as we saw yet again with Monster Hunter Wilds. So they probably saw the performance issues with an online multiplayer open world Resident Evil game, and they're like, no, we're not dealing with that, and they scale things back and make it more linear because it's less strain on the engine. That's honestly, the RE engine can't do open world games, because we saw 2 attempts at it, and both times the games struggled to run well. So that's just my theory. It could be most likely be wrong, and they don't really care about performance, but it's also worth knowing that correct me if I'm wrong, every mainline Resident Evil game runs at in recent years has run at 60 FPS.
Yep. That is
They're
true.
probably prioritizing that and a decent image quality for the resolution and everything. And also, another aspect, that they didn't announce a Switch 2 version, I think, but they likely want the games to come to Switch 2. And how do you optimize everything? Making a more linear experience, make so you can hit your performance targets and your resolution targets while having a gameplay experience that the majority of recent Resident Evil fans are familiar with. I think the more damning comment that they made, but it's more of a redirection, because if you listen to what Resident Evil team has done over the years, they said one thing and like, oh, surprise, iconic character actually is here, is the whole fact, why isn't Leon playable? Oh, Leon, because, those characters aren't fit for a scary environment. Well, they're just redirecting, they're just misdirecting people. I would be shocked if iconic Resident Evil characters don't show up in the new one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think they're not gonna show up, because Chris showed up in Village, but they're not gonna be playable characters. I think that's what they meant. Like Leon, you can't have a horror game and play as Leon, because Leon, if you're playing as Leon, it's like playing as the Doomslayer. If you're playing as someone like Ethan from Resident Evil 7 and 8 in Doom, like in a Doom's world, that's gonna be a horror game. But you put the Doomslayer in it, then it's a whole different story. That's how Leon is in Resident Evil.
So are you saying Evil 4 is a horror experience for the monsters? Is that what you say?
Yeah, and it's really like Resident Evil 2 was the last time that Leon could be in a horror game. Once Resident Evil 4 came out, he turned into the badass. Like there's not like he doesn't fear anything, just like they said. Like
where's everybody?
him and Chris Redfield, you can't like. Chris Redfield is out here punching boulders. That's why Resident Evil 5 is not a scary game. It's more of an action game. Same with Resident Evil 4. Like, I can't play as either of those characters and feel any kind of fear.
Come on, man. He's punching boulders because he's terrified of the creatures behind him. That's why he's punching the boulders.
But yeah,
Oh, man.
I actually thought it was a hilarious comment, just to give Leon that much steez that he's just not afraid of anything. He's just too good to be in a horror, like you to be in a horror game, because you would not be able to feel any kind of horror playing as him. But that's literally my favorite character from Resident Evil, so I love that. But Subeg, how are you feeling about the switch up?
Yeah, it seems like it's in efforts to make it a little bit more traditional, I would say. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Resident Evil fan. Like I've played some. I actually haven't beaten any Resident Evil game, so. But I have a lot of them. Like I have Village, I have 7, I have 4, I have 5, and I think I have 6, and I think I have Revelations too. But like it's more of a series that I admire from afar, I would say. But I like the fact that they want to make it a little more scary. They want to make it more of a horror game, you know. I like that. But that's really all I got to say, honestly. It's gonna do good. It'll probably be fucking nominated for a GOTY next year. It'll be critically acclaimed and all that. So I'm sure it'll be a great game.
See, now I'm over here like, all right, Subeg, we gotta run through Resident Evil 5. I want you to experience Resident Evil 5 in co-op and then we can come back to this conversation, because if you didn't experience Resident Evil 5's co-op, it's like how I feel about Super Mario 3D World. Super Mario 3D World as a single player game, complete mid. Now I'm not gonna say it's mid, but it's like, compared to any other 3D Mario, it's like, it's okay. But play it in co-op, it's a top 3D Mario game. Resident Evil 5 is the same way. Don't play it in single player, because you're not gonna get the full experience of that game. Play it in co-op, and it is one of the most fun Resident Evil games by a mile.
Well, the common denominator for both games you mentioned is that they were built for co-op in mind,
Yeah.
but they were adapted to well in single player. I think the Switch version 3D will really help that game because all the characters move faster, and that just makes the platforming, in my opinion, a lot better than in the Wii U version. But
I never
for
minded
my history of Resident Evil, it just kind of I beat 4 on the original Wii because I love the pointer controls. That was so good. And I remember the first time I played Resident Evil 7, I played for a good 2 hours, and there was one sequence where like my heart legitimately jumped. Like, oh, shit. And then I'm like, okay, I'll come back to this at some point, and I never came back to it, but I'll come back to it at some other point. But I like Resident Evil. I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise, but I respect it a lot, and I'm glad to see that Capcom continues to keep making really good Resident Evil games, because there was a time where after 6 they had to go back and find out what worked and what didn't work, and then now they have a good like foundation after 7. They built on top of that with the 2 remake, and now with Resident Evil is in its golden age right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for the series going forward.
Yeah. For me, honestly, I'm at the point where Resident Evil can kick rocks. This was and honestly, like I didn't play Resident Evil 4 remake because I'm tired of that formula that they have literally been using since Resident Evil 4 came out. The OG one in 2005.
I played a demo of the 4 remake, and I was so annoyed at the knife can't be used. After using the knife like 2-3 times, it doesn't work anymore. I'm like, okay, uninstall. Like I was so frustrated because I remember the knife was my go-to when I ran out of ammo on the original game. So the fact that the knife was just so limited now, I'm like, no, this ain't it for me.
Yeah, like I'm tired of this formula. And I was excited to actually see them kind of advance and try something new with Resident Evil. And then this literally is just mimicking what happened with The Last of Us Online, the greatest tragedy of this generation. Maybe the second greatest tragedy after we talk about it in one of our next topics. But I love my single player games. Like, don't get me wrong. I would never want Resident Evil to go like completely co-op or completely online, completely open world every single time. Just give me one. It don't even gotta be a mainline game. Just give me make Revelations 3 an online co-op open world game, and then have the mainline games be single player. At least give me
Honestly,
one.
Yeah, they should be able to do that. Honestly, it shouldn't be too difficult.
But like the issue with Revelations is that the second player is always gimped. They're never two equally capable characters. It's usually the first player is capable and the second player is Ashley, but a little bit better. Like they're not doing everything that the first player can do. Like Resident Evil 5, where Shiva and Chris were equally, like, they were equal characters. They both could use all of the weapons. They both could do everything, which was what I want in Revelations, but they always give you just a terrible second player, which makes the second player not as engaged. So yeah, I just want at least a spinoff where they actually go through with what they were trying to do with Resident Evil 9 originally. But right now, I think Resident Evil 9 is going to be great because they really haven't dropped the quality with Resident Evil since 6. But I'm just not feeling it until they give me something that's different. Basically how I feel about Monster Hunter, and then now look at Monster Hunter Wilds. Look at that player count. It was prophetic. But that's all I had to say on there. Anything else y'all want to add before we move on?
I'm good.
All right. Let's talk about Halo, because we got a New Dawn trailer back in 2024 at the Halo World Championship, and that was basically our first glimpse at the future of Halo, getting away from Slip Space Engine, moving over to the tried and true Unreal Engine, basically starting over as a studio by changing from 343 Industries to Halo Studios. Basically a whole new start for that team and what's next for Halo. Well, they have confirmed in Halo Waypoint that they will have more to show when it comes to what Halo Studios is working on at this year's Halo World Championship in October. So we've heard a bunch of different speculations. Halo Combat Evolved remake. We've heard that we might even get a glimpse at Halo 7 or whatever they want to call it. And we know that they're working on multiple projects. Some spin-offs may be involved as well. But I want to hear from y'all. What are y'all expecting? What is the official scoop that they teased that we'll be seeing at Halo World Championship?
I think it's gonna be very similar to Gears. A very hard reset button. They're gonna conclude whatever story beats that they kind of set up with Infinite in a book, which has been confirmed. Like they have a book to wrap up the Infinite storyline. So I guess what that means, Combat Evolved remake. That's the next game, and that's gonna be like the big one because hey, Microsoft wants to bring their stuff everywhere, right? Because they're a third-party publisher now. So what do? You bring Halo to PlayStation, Switch 2 with not the Master Chief Collection because that's pro-consumer, having like all the games in one box. No, you split it up in $40 releases, starting with the Combat Evolved remake. And I think that's what they might have a teaser trailer for that at the Halo Championships, and then after that we get a full reveal at the Xbox Showcase, or maybe even at the Developer Direct early next year. I think that's the most likely thing they're going to show off. If not that, maybe they show off like a sunsetting like thing of content maps and features they're adding to Infinite before they finish everything with that. But that's my guess.
Okay. Subeg, you agree?
Yeah, I think I do agree in the fact that they are gonna piecemeal them, but I do think that whatever it is, it's gonna be a lot more than the Gears Reloaded.
Okay,
because Gears Reloaded
that was gonna be my next question.
Okay.
But go ahead. I was gonna ask, do you think we're gonna get a Gears Reloaded style remake, or is it gonna be closer to like a Resident Evil 2 remake?
It has to be, because of Gears, like as Subeg mentioned, like with we're in a new engine now. Like with Gears Reloaded, it's like they still using like the Ultimate Edition as a base for that. Whatever they do with Gears 2, that's gonna be like very reflective of what they're doing in E-Day, I would imagine. But for Halo, it's immediately going to be noticeable, the visual bump. I'm just wondering if that means they're going to be expanding the game, if like the levels are going to be bigger, maybe we'll have bigger maps.
Yeah, that's what I mean by Resident Evil 2. Like they change everything so that it's like closer to modern Halo in terms of gameplay.
I don't know. I mean, the logical side of me would be like, they should do that, but another part of me is like, well, after like people kind of being so hot and cold with you all these years, maybe just play it safe and just do a pretty by the numbers faithful remake, but with just really pretty visuals. Or if they're gonna be really ambitious, maybe have like, instead of having like level to level to level, maybe what they can do is, correct me if I'm wrong, the only Halo I put a lot of time into was Infinite. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me anytime. Maybe what they can do is like that initial like opening level where like you're kind of like free to kind of like you're in the foresty area. That's like a little giant hub, and all the other levels are kind of splintered around like in the open world, kind of fulfilling the idea that they wanted to do with Infinite, but clearly they didn't.
Okay, I can see that, because to a certain extent, most of the events are taking place in one map, but you're flying around to each part of it. So if they were able to kind of connect those into like one open, at least hub world area, that'd be cool. Besides the actual like in a base or in spaceship levels, like the flood levels, they don't take place outside. But yeah, that would definitely be cool. But Subeg, what do you think the scale of this remake is gonna be?
See, I want to say that it's gonna be faithful to, at least it's gonna be faithful to the first game. In a sense of like, you'll probably go through it exactly how it is in the original, but like it's just gonna be in Unreal. It's gonna look completely different. It's gonna be like way more of a graphical overhaul than anything. But I don't know though, because you know the first Halo doesn't have sprint, so
that's,
you know,
where I'm at. I don't like. At least I think we're gonna see something closer to like Oblivion remaster, even though that was definitely a remake, where mechanics, like the game itself, is still the same Oblivion, but you have things like sprint. You have like they update some of the guns so that they kind of work closer to how modern Halo guns work. Like the Magnum doesn't play how it does in Halo 1. It plays more like a Halo 2 or a Halo 5.
Sorry to cut in, but do you think they bring in the grappling hook? That was one of the coolest parts of Infinite, and seeing that in the original Halo would be pretty cool.
I would love for that to be a thing. I don't think they would go that far though. Actually, side thought, don't make a Halo 7 if there's no grapple hook. You have to bring the grapple hook in every game now. Not even gonna lie to you.
Agreed. Grapple hook makes every game better.
Facts. Look at Borderlands 4. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a Gears Reloaded, because I mean, I want to. Maybe I'm just, because that's not what I want, I'm saying that because I would be disappointed if we get a Gears Reloaded style game for Halo remake, especially since it's the second remake and the first one was already a faithful remake.
Yeah.
I want them to go all out, especially if this is supposed to be your first project, to show what they can do with Halo. But that's how I feel about it. But any chances of a Halo 7 tease at all? You think, or think that's a little later?
No, well, I think they're not gonna do any. They're not gonna do any tease about Halo 7 until they get remakes out for 1, 2, and 3, and then they just go from there. highly doubt that we're gonna get a Halo 7 anytime soon. Maybe next generation, like by the middle of next generation on whatever Xbox looks like. But I think very similar to Gears, hard reset button, going back to the past where the fans and the community were very much in lockstep with what you were doing with the franchise. And once you regain that trust again, then you go full steam ahead of a new project, having like a new firm foundation, or maybe even like a Halo 2 remake. Like then you go full steam ahead on a Halo 7. But we'll see what they do. We'll see what happens after this remake. We really, as we'll get into with the Xbox stuff in a little bit, we really don't know what's going to happen with Xbox's teams. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Subeg, you agree?
Yeah. I don't think whatever the next Halo project is that's not, tied to the history of the brand, I don't think we're seeing that for a while.
You don't think they're gonna show off the game 6 years early again?
Nah.
No? Okay.
Nah, definitely not. But you know what I would want? I would want them to completely skip 1 and 2 and just remake 3 and then move from there, but
because it's the only one that hasn't been remade.
Exactly.
Just like no one wanted Gears 1 Reloaded, we wanted Gears 2 or Gears 3, the ones that actually needed it. The ones that actually aren't even on any platforms other than Xbox console.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Come on, guys! They gotta introduce. Microsoft's gotta introduce the new suckers into their franchise. So they're gonna piecemeal it. Come on, the other audiences come first now, not the Xbox loyal base. Come on, don't you know the playbook by now? Come on.
I mean, the Xbox loyal base ain't paying $40. That's all I gotta say.
Oh.
All right. I agree. We're not gonna see Halo 7, but what about them spin-offs though?
That's a whole.
What about we've been waiting for Halo Wars 3 for a long ass time. Maybe they go a whole nother route and they forgo the RTS. They say, you know what? There are so many genres that will work with Halo that we just never touched.
Horror. I love a horror one because I seen what the Flood looks like. That could be really scary. Imagine seeing that in like a Resident Evil-esque horror environment, or maybe like a Dead Space type of approach. That would be really cool.
But obviously not playing as Spartan. You have to be playing as like a ODST or something to really bring it home.
Absolutely.
But I'll say there's a 30% chance we see a spinoff, but I think it'll probably just be the remake, and that's about it.
Halo platformer. Let's go, Halo platform. Come on, that could be fun. You play as you could play as one of the grunts, and you go on a wild adventure. They use different Halo guns as means to jump. Like you do the charge pistol, you use that as a double jump. You use the guns as different kind of ways to get around the environment.
All right, I got another surprise announcement that would totally happen. You ready for this?
What's gonna happen?
All right, look. They're like, all right, we're gonna see the next adventure for Master Chief, and then everybody's gonna go crazy in the crowd, right? And then you see Master Chief on screen, and it's looking crispy. You're like, oh shit, it's actually Halo 7. They doing it, bro. And he's in a ship, and you're like, okay, hold on, this ship kind of looks unfamiliar, bro. And then you finally see another figure appear, and it's Samus. And then they start fighting, and you're like, yo, what's going on? And then at the end, you finally get it. Boom. Master Chief finishes the fight. And there we go. Master Chief, new Smash Bros. Announcement at the same time. They did it. Greatest announcement of all time.
that would be amazing. Just a sudden out of the blue, like Switch 2 edition of Ultimate. You kick it off with Master Chief as
And
a playable fighter.
Then you
That would be
see Sakurai and Pierre Heinz on stage together. Oh man, magic right there. Bro.
And his Echo Fighter is the Arbiter.
Magic right there, bro.
Let's go. Out of that. This would be like dreams, but that would be so sick. Having Mario and Master Chief in the same area would be insane.
But obviously that's like a 0.01.
Oh, and you need to have and one of the items has a new variation of the sticky grenade. That'll be beautiful. Oh man.
But yeah, anything else y'all want to add on the Halo subject?
I hope your out of the blue dream happens. I would be so happy if you have Master Chief or Master Cheeks in Smash Brothers.
That's definitely not the cheeks, but
No.
I think I think what will happen though, like what's a guarantee, is that the fan base is going to be split on Sprint again. That's 100% guarantee.
I think we will never, or actually with the remake, yes. But I think everyone has accepted Sprint in Halo Infinite because of how good they implemented it.
I don't know, because people are raving about that new Infinite game mode that doesn't have the Sprint in it. So
yeah, but at the same time, we know how people reacted to Halo at the beginning of its like when it launched.
Yeah,
everyone, it wasn't the game play itself, it was the lack of content that killed Halo. But everyone raved about Halo's mechanics and how it felt and how it still felt Halo, but also felt modern.
Lord Sonic never plays multiplayer shooters. Halo Infinite was the one time I spent like 2 to 3 months back to back playing the hell out of Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
And this is when there was a lack of content. But I loved the gameplay. It was so good.
I feel like Xbox would be in such a different position if Halo Infinite was delayed 1 year. Like post where it actually launched. It came out in 2022.
It's not like they had. It's not like, you know what?
You know,
it's not like
the driest year of the driest year of the console's life, where it actually would have needed it.
Yeah, delayed a year, release it in the summer, and you have a huge slate of maps you can play. You have a pretty massive like battle pass to deal with, or 2 battle passes. They could sell one at a time. Like, it would have been such a great. Heck, the extra time could have been used to flesh out the campaign too and add another biome maybe. But hey, hindsight's 2020, right?
Yep.
yeah.
All right.
It's funny because it's funny. I was gonna say, like, they really didn't need to put out Halo Infinite in 2021 because they had Forza Horizon and
Forza Horizon was
and all that
popping,
shit.
and they just decided, you know what? Let's kill some of the hype that Forza's getting and just drop this Halo beta. Drop the Halo multiplayer.
They could have dropped the multiplayer at like the first, like in February or March, and then they could have released the full version of the multiplayer and the campaign in the summertime.
See,
and then
what really got us is that they were like, here's the multiplayer beta in November, and then you'll get the full multiplayer. Like, okay, for a beta, this feels really good. We got 10 maps, you know, it's good enough for 1 month. With this beta, full game comes out, that was the full multiplayer. There was no beta. It was a lie. That's what they really killed us, because we were like, oh wait, nothing extra, not a single thing, no new weapons, no new maps, no new skins. It's literally the same game that we were already playing. Okay. But yeah, they have to come correct at launch with the next Halo. It has to be at least Splatoon 2 levels of complete when it launches, because there is no shooter besides Splatoon and Call of Duty. And Call of Duty is really iffy depending on the release, if it actually comes complete or not. But Splatoon is the most complete shooter of the modern era.
Even the original Splatoon, if I remember correctly, had a sizable amount of content. You had like a couple of maps in the multiplayer mode. You had a pretty substantial, like, 3 to 5 hour single player campaign. And I mean, it was locked behind the amiibos, but each amiibo had like a bunch of different challenges to do too. Like, there was a lot of content with Splatoon.
Yep.
And I think all the other games had a lot of content too.
Yeah, every game got more, like, their single player got more substantial with each release. And then they even had like the DLCs for both games. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. All right, just a couple more quick ones, and then we're gonna get into the big one. So, another game that I wish this is one of, I hate when insiders decide to just like release information that I didn't need just to make me upset. And this was one of those times, because there was a game that I truly loved called Outriders by People Can Fly, the developers of Bulletstorm. But since Outriders, they have tried, it seems like every other like 6 months we hear about a new People Can Fly game in the works. From Xbox, PlayStation, like everyone's trying to recruit them to make their game, and then they just get canceled. Like, and then you hear layoffs over at People Can Fly, canceled projects, and all this. But I was always hoping that everything will be solved if they just make an Outriders 2. And
out of all, stop being stupid, which apparently, see, it frustrates me too.
But it seems that my dream of Outriders 2 is gone, because that was one of People Can Fly's canceled projects from the last round of layoffs that they had. And honestly, I don't understand what they could possibly be working on that would be able to replace Outriders, unless it's literally just Outriders with a different name. But Outriders has so much potential, and really what got the game is that it just didn't have the same budget as a Destiny, or they didn't have as much time to refine it as Warframe. But some of the ideas that it had, so much better than Destiny and Warframe. It just never tried to be a live service game. So once you beat the game, it was kind of, there was a little end game, but it wasn't like that ongoing experience that keeps people coming back to the game. Kind of like Power World, where people just keep on thinking that Power World is this live service game when it's really not. They never were trying to make it a live service game, but it had enough elements that make it comparable to live service games. But yeah, when I found out about this, I was kind of sad, bro, because this was one of those sequels that I just been waiting for, and I wanted it to have that Uncharted 2 moment where the first game was good, but not, it had potential, but it didn't reach its full potential, but it had all of these cool ideas. It just needed to realize it fully. I was waiting for Outriders 2 to have that moment, and now all of my hopes are dashed. But did either of y'all get into Outriders?
I played it when it was on Game Pass for a little bit, and I saw the potential. I don't really play multiplayer games all that much, but I liked what I played at Outriders, and People Can Fly are known for making quality shooting experiences, and them being able to make their own new IP, and even if it had a little bit of some stumbles here and there, it had the best leg up. It was on Game Pass day one, so a lot of people played it on PC and Xbox. It sold relatively decently on PlayStation, from my understanding. And the problem boils down to, when it comes to Western developed titles, Square Enix is an awful publisher. Yep. When it comes to the Japanese stuff, they're decent. They're a decent to good publisher. But when it comes to the Western projects, they're what is the common thing we always hear, everyone? Sold below expectation. And that's always been the case for every single remotely expensive AAA title or AA title that they've put out on what's a Western game. Same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Same thing with every mainline Tomb Raider game. And what was the common through line? Those are all great games, but the Square Enix's expectations was so high because of the budgets or whatever reason that they never they didn't really want to invest in any more stuff, and that's probably why Outriders 2 never got across the finish line, because Square Enix owns the IP, from my understanding at least. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
I'm actually not too sure,
because I am not super sure myself. Because I know that's one of the few Western things they were intending on having something with. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that they put a firm no on the idea of Outriders 2 is not really surprising, considering how a live service-esque experiences are kind of falling under the wayside unless you're free to play stuff like Fortnite and Apex. But it doesn't change the fact that it would have been a potential success, because you have an audience that would play the first one and really liked it. It would have been, people know what Outriders is, and you could have had if you had a good marketing budget, it could have been a success. Or maybe if there had no confidence in it, pitch whatever you have of Outriders 2 to PlayStation and Xbox and make it a day one game on their services for a little bit. I don't know. There could have been something. There's so many ways they could have sold Outriders 2 to people, and people would have given it a shot, and they just chose not to. And I don't know. It's at the very least, from the sounds of it, at least that People Can Fly aren't completely out of work, because they're like a support studio for Gears of War E-Day. So I don't know if that's the entirety of the development team, but at least part of the development team is busy with something. So at least their doors won't be shut. But it's always sad to hear.
They have multiple projects. They have 3 in the works.
Okay.
Or I guess 2, because they had that cancellation. But they have at least 2 projects and working on E-Day.
Okay, so at least they're busy. It sucks to hear the game got canceled, but we could have been talking about a situation where they got shut down. And thank God, knock on wood, we're not talking about that right now.
Yeah, and from the article, it does say that the publisher was still Square Enix, so I think they do own the IP. But the reasoning was not publicly announced, but several sources have stated that the issue stemmed from alleged funding and communication issues. So that definitely sounds like Square Enix.
Yep.
But Subeg, did you ever get into Outriders?
Yeah, that was one of the first day one on Game Pass, third parties, right?
Yeah, that was the first really big third party Game Pass game. And I remember all of the stories about People Can Fly still hasn't gotten paid by Square Enix because the sales did it. And you know what would have helped with the funding for that game, or for People Can Fly, if you would have actually gave them a percentage of the bag that you took from Xbox for putting it in Game Pass. Maybe if y'all would have actually shared some of that, they would have been actually getting paid for all of the users.
Yeah. It's a shame, honestly. And to talk about the IP ownership, Square does actually own the IP for it. They like I think it was they sold off like Tomb Raider and like Deus Ex and all that shit, but they kept like Just Cause and like Life is Strange and Outriders or some shit.
Which I don't. Oh, maybe I will say maybe it's because no one wanted to buy it, and that's the only reason that they kept those. But like, who the hell? Who sells Tomb Raider and keeps Just Cause? And I mean, Life is Strange it definitely has a fan base for sure, and they're cheap to make, so I can kind of understand that one. But like, who keeps Outriders and sells Deus Ex?
Yeah.
Come on, man. They got the Square Enix is gonna make a Gex 4, and that's why they kept him. I'll believe my delusions.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked Outriders. It was a good game. It was one of those where it's like there is a cover system, but it's like it really incentivizes you to not use the cover system.
I loved how they designed that game.
Yeah.
You really only needed the cover when you just needed a breather to kind of, but it always incentivized getting into the fight, which that was my favorite part of that game, because you would heal by getting kills and doing your special abilities, and the more you kill, the faster the special abilities will pop, and you just kept going. Like it was all about just utilizing all of your special abilities. One thing I hate in games is when you have all of these cool special abilities, but they have these just long ass cooldowns where it's like, hey, only use these for special occasions. Outriders was like, nah, get in there, start popping off all of your abilities at once and just start fucking shit up. That's what I loved about Outriders compared to like Destiny. You gotta wait a little bit to get your special, and then you gotta wait until you got the perfect opportunity. You got all of these enemies, and then you do your little warlock blast or whatever your special is. Whereas Outriders, it was like every 10 seconds you popping off, not even 10, bro. It was like you just popping them off left and right. Like, I loved Outriders, bro.
One of my favorite, I think the class I picked was the one that you could set people on fire, and if you shoot them enough, and I was like, yo, that's so cool.
I forgot what my class was. It was like techno. It was something that had like you could have a bubble shield, and it was supposed to be like the close range one, because you could like do a spinning attack, and you could just start chopping up a bunch of enemies. I can't remember what it was called though, but yeah, I never played the DLC. I should definitely try out that, but sad to see. Hope that we get hopefully their new IP is something like Returnal, and then there's Sorrows, which is basically Returnal, but just a different IP. That's what I want their new IP to be. I want it to be Outriders with a different name.
That makes sense to me. Like, you have the gameplay systems in place. Surely Square Enix isn't gonna bat an eye if you change a couple of things around to keep the core. Surely they'll be like, whatever.
All right, but anything else to add before we get to our last topic, before we get into the big stuff?
I'm good.
Other than it's a good game. They made a solid game. Like, that's all you could really ask for, right?
And if you haven't played it, just play it. You can find it super cheap, and it's a complete game. You don't have to, like, it's not one of those live service games that you're still waiting on content or anything. It's a complete story, a complete campaign, drop in, drop out co-op, and honestly, it's one of those co-op games that's actually fun in single player. Like, I had fun playing it single player, and I had fun playing it in co-op, which sometimes when there is co-op, the single player just doesn't feel right. That game actually feels really solid in single player.
So I played, and when I for the few hours I played in single player and had a fun time.
Also, I'll never not love the protagonist because
Yeah.
whoever wrote that protagonist, we need more writers like them, because that protagonist did not give any fucks whatsoever. Like he was supposed to be like this super gentle guy, and then all that shit happened, everything went down, he just turned into the most bitter asshole. But like he's still trying to do good. He just doesn't care anymore. And they had some of the most hilarious cutscenes that you'll ever see, but they're trying to be so serious. But it'll just be like you're just talking to some guy at a shop, and then someone just comes up and shoots him in the face and then runs away, and you're just like, fuck. It's like it's something you just have to see. Like, you have to see it for yourself, bro, because that story, the character that you create, just one of the best protagonists out there.
Reminds me of some of the characterization they did in Bulletstorm, where like at a certain point, like you have like something happens to like your friend companion or something, and then he just and he goes from like this genuinely like friendly dude to like I freaking hate you. You're the reason why I'm like this. Go screw yourself. And like the back and forth between the characters was really funny.
Yeah. This ain't our LP. You can cuss.
Okay.
Yeah, you can cuss. It's no biggie. But I was gonna say, even like, yeah, the story itself was like kind of like corny, kind of like B tier level stuff.
Yeah,
but
it had
the
that
lore,
B movie feel.
Yeah, but the lore was actually really expansive. Like they had so many like little codex entry type things going on, and like it was deep if you searched for it. And yeah, man, they had something with it. It just sucks.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. This is definitely a Subeg topic, because you know me. I mean, you know, it's kind of my topic too, because I'm kind of a sports guy, you know. I like Kevin Curry and what's his name, LeBron Durant. Some of my favorite basketball players. I be watching football sometimes, you know. I play foosball. What's the guy's name? Terrell Jackson. That sounds like a football player. But yeah, I love sports, guys.
I thought you was gonna say Michael Jordan.
You know, I dabble.
Michael B. Jordan? No, I'm just kidding.
I dabble with the hoops. You feel me? I'm just playing, but you know me. I don't care about sports for the most part, but I keep up with a little bit, just generally. But I can't stand watching sports. Like, I enjoy the sport. I enjoy playing the sports, but I can't just sit there and just watch a full game and keep my interest. Like, I'm more of a score checker, if anything. But when it comes to gaming, sports games is my shit. Even the simulation ones, like every now and then I can get into Madden, but 2K, that used to be every year. I ain't gonna, like, from 2013, actually not, bro, from 2K8 all the way to like 2020. That was day one every time. I fell off after like 2021, 2022, where I was just like, nah, it's not hitting anymore. But basketball games have always been some of my favorite, even back when it was NBA Live I even I liked NBA Live 19. I think that was the last one, or 18, one of those. I actually liked that one, even though it obviously was not 2K, but
Did you play the basketball game on the GameCube where Mario, Peach, and Luigi get
NBA
starred?
Street Volume 3, yeah. We need that.
That was so surreal to see that, man.
But there has been a missing piece for the longest time that was finally corrected last year when EA Sports College Football came out. After they finally worked something out with NCAA, or I should say NCAA finally worked something out with their players.
Yeah.
That allowed them to have their likeness used in video games. They can get paid, all this type of things that you would see with NBA players and NFL players. The NCAA athletes can now have those same kind of rights. So finally they worked something out. Everything is good on that end, and we got EA Sports College Football after 15 years, I think it was. But now EA said, you know what, we're not gonna stop at just football. We already have EA Sports Football, or college football, coming out this month, but they decided to make the announcement that they are currently working on EA Sports college basketball. And yeah, like, for me, I'm just excited that EA is working on a basketball game at all.
Absolutely.
But I've never been the biggest NCAA fan. Like, I like the games back in the day, but when it came down to it, like, NBA Live was always my thing. Before like 2K8 came out, and then I just got engrossed in 2K instead. But I've been wanting 2K to have some kind of competition, because they just been getting out of hand ever since NBA Live died. So I'm just excited to see EA jumping into basketball again. But 2K,
You could say,
oh, go ahead.
you could say EA's in the game.
But 2K was not just gonna let EA have all of the spotlight for long. Not like hours later, not even a full day. 2K decided to put their hat in the ring, and they said, "Hey, guess who else is making it? It's been a long time since we've been on the campus, ain't that right?" And out of nowhere, we went from 0 college basketball games to 2 college basketball games in one day. So Subeg, as the person who reviewed College Football 25 and had a full squad going, I saw you streaming. You was out there.
That was my home base game for like a while.
How are you feeling about college basketball, EA and 2K Sports?
Yeah, so I'm definitely way more optimistic about EA's game versus 2K's game, because 2K has been loads of ass lately, especially the last few that are so animation based. Like, they're not even fun to play anymore. But I'm way more excited about the EA one, especially because they don't make live anymore. So, and I know from NBA Live 19 that game wasn't as animation based as like the 2Ks are. So, and I loved College Football 25. I thought that game was amazing. Like, it was so fluid. It felt so sharp. Like, even like doing like the moves, like it was like instant, like the juke moves and like the spin moves, and even just getting the ball out. You know, like it felt like for once they were like, let's make a fun game instead of making a fun simulation, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, I kind of hope that the same like idea or like design philosophy carries over to the what's it called? EA, I don't even know what they're gonna call it. EA Live College, some shit.
No, I think they'll just call it EA Sports College Basketball. Like literally.
Okay. Yeah, that'd actually be a good name for it. Just call it college basketball. But yeah, I'm excited for it actually. I'm more excited for it than I would be just a regular 2K for sure. This makes me also think that they're probably not gonna do live. They'll probably just stick with this college basketball thing. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
And then 2K.
I kind of hope. Well, one more time.
And then 2K. Oh, but finish what you were saying. But I want to hear your thoughts on 2K as well.
Yeah. I hope that it's not on Frostbite actually. Even though it most likely will be on Frostbite, but I want them to make a basketball game in Unreal, man. I feel like it'd be great. You know, Rematch kind of proves that you can do a pretty good soccer game in Unreal. So, yeah, I hope that it's not Frostbite, but yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
2K.
Oh yeah. It's probably gonna be fucking garbage, but man, I mean, yeah. I'm surprised they didn't just say like, oh, it's gonna be like a extra or like an added on mode to the yearly 2K cycle.
I mean,
like I'm surprised.
Technically, we didn't get an announcement that they are making a totally new college basketball game. Let me just read the tweet that it was. So
yeah, go for it.
So Young So basically said 2K should be making the college basketball game to the EA Sports college basketball announcement. And the NBA 2K replied saying the campus has been quiet for too long. Smirk face. That's the announcement. We haven't got any other details other than that.
Okay. So it could still be a game mode inside of 2K, huh?
Yeah, there's a possibility, but I would hope that they would do better than that. But knowing
sure
2K,
it's because I mean even the newest 2Ks, it has the WNBA stuff in it too. So
yeah,
I think that they probably will just go.
The thing is, no one's like, not to sound sexist, no one's gonna make a full WNBA game because there's just not a big enough fan base who would come out and buy a separate WNBA game like that. But college football actually has a base where people would go out and buy the college basketball game.
Yeah.
Same with, and honestly, if you're 2K, why wouldn't you get two $70 games out versus just one $70 game, and then you have all of that in there?
Sure.
The counter argument is that doesn't 2K have that like financial hole that is the what was that mode again?
VC My Career.
Yeah, that. I imagine they're gonna that's probably why they'll lump college basketball into the base 2K release, because why are we gonna have people like away from the microtransaction area? Let's have all these experiences in one house and tie them all together with the My House, My Career, something, whatever it's called, and just keep getting money from their audience, because that's a lot of people invest a lot of stupid amounts of money into that. So why are you gonna mess with that cash flow? At least for this year.
Counter argument. Why not just do all of the same stuff that you were doing in NBA 2K, in NCAA 2K, but now you have like NCAA 2K launch in March, and then
like March Madness or something.
Yeah, launch it in March, 6 months before NBA 2K. People put they get all of that VC, they spending all this money in it, and then NBA 2K comes out 6 months later, and guess what? You say, oh, all of that VC that you bought, it is not carrying over to NBA 2K. You gotta buy it all again. And you know what? They not gonna care. They gonna do it anyway because the NBA 2K community is but guess what? They deserve it. And I'm saying this about my past self because I was one of these motherfuckers. Y'all deserve to be charged as much as because y'all don't care. And y'all keep on accepting it every time they say, you know what? To be a decent player in this game, instead of only 35,000, you gonna need 50,000 to be a decent player. You know what? 50,000 ain't enough anymore. 75,000, and you'll be the most okay player possible. How about that? So charge them more.
Are you saying the whales got to put on that jersey?
Yes. And they will show up for both games every 6 months.
That's insane.
Just spend, and they gonna buy the $100 version for both. They gotta get that. They gotta get the Kobe. They gotta get the Kobe edition, bro. You can't.
Well, that's not even ignoring the fact that it's very likely that it's gonna be the next $80 game. They could jack up the price to $80 for that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Make the Kobe edition 120. Make it 150, and then have, I don't know who's a good college player, but have that edition 150 also. Have them spend $300 every year. I would love to see that actually.
You gotta switch too and like a game. Jesus Christ.
If it look, I want more anti-consumer practices when it comes to stuff like 2K, because the fan base, I'm trying to see if they actually have a limit. When does it stop? When do they stop buying? That's what I want to know. How far does 2K have to push?
Is are the EA sports games that bad? I've never really played.
They're not even. I mean, like if you play the My Team mode, teams, yeah, Ultimate Team and all that, it's not. But it's not even close to 2K. Yeah, because at the very least, you can play the full career mode. You can level up your stats naturally for your player and just have a good ass time without spending a single dime, or like you don't feel like you're being held back at all. Everything just feels natural with the progression. Whereas 2K, they will sit there and make you the worst NBA player. You're supposed to be a professional basketball player, and they will make sure that if you don't spend any money, you will be no better than your actual self. You trying to play basketball in real life. That's the level that you're at in that game if you don't spend any money outside of just buying a copy of the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
No, he's right. He's right. If you don't, and the craziest thing is, in your My Career character in 2K, like if you even want to spend the money on it, you can only go up to like a certain overall. Like you can only go up to like 85, and then you have to grind to level up more, and then you also have to pay more to keep on leveling up. So it's like, it's some bullshit. But I was gonna say, with the whole with the whole idea of 2K, you know, dropping a college basketball game and their 2K game, you already know that freaking Zelnick is like sitting like Mr. Burns, like you already know he's sitting like that, like foaming at the mouth of like the money that he's gonna get doing that bullshit. But yeah. So
for me though, I'm excited about the prospects of EA college basketball. But I just know mechanically, EA just has not been able to put out a good basketball game, like a mechanically sound basketball game. Like I liked NBA Live 19, but playing 2K19 was still, even once they started to hit that bad kind of spot with 2K, when they started to go downhill, it was still leagues better feeling than NBA Live was. So that's where it comes down to, like, is this break gonna be enough to kind of have them elevate what NBA Live was gameplay wise.
Didn't that happen with Madden though? People kind of burnt out on Madden for a little bit, but then college football came out. It was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping there is. If they could do it with Madden, because even Madden 25, no one really liked Madden 25 like that. They were like, you know what? We thought that the college football gameplay would kind of translate to Madden, but Madden still feels trash like Madden. So people were playing college football still. Now, there's also the hope that 2K might use this opportunity to scale back some of the trash mechanics and animations and forcing VC down your throat. Maybe the college basketball game is where they say, you know what? We gonna make a more pure, like classic 2K experience, you know, just to get people through the door with the new college basketball before the next like 2K27 comes out, and then they start forcing it all down your throat again. But I'm excited about both right now. But we know EA, and it seems EA has not changed their ways because they do not like competition. And it has gotten to the point, we know what happened with the NFL games in 2004.
Sega was showing them up and like, not anymore.
ESPN NFL 2K5, to this day, still the greatest football game of all time. That just shows how sad the situation with Madden has been for the last 20 years. Still the greatest football game of all time. Had all of these innovative features, presentation was immaculate. And then they had the audacity to launch the game at $20 when Madden was $50. There was nothing that EA could have done to stop what 2K and Sega was doing at that time, except buy the rights, exclusive rights to making NFL games, which means that Madden is the only NFL game that comes out. And to this day, that contract is still in effect. We lost NFL 2K, we lost NFL Blitz, like NFL Game Day, even though I don't think they were making NFL Game Days. Actually, no, they were still making NFL Game Days back then. No, NFL Fever, that's what it was called. Not NFL Game. I think it was MLB Game Day. I don't know. But throwback to when.
Does EA have the complete rights to college football too, or is it kind of like multiple companies can make college football?
So that's what I'm getting to. So there was a report from, let me find it. So Matt Brown, no wait, that's not the one. It was, no, was it this one? Sorry, should have had this. Yeah, here it is. So Matt Brown actually reported that EA actually had a statement once 2K put out the little tease that they did about making a college basketball game. They put out a statement saying, from our first meetings, EA Sports was the most confident by a wide margin in terms of the viability of a comprehensive standalone college basketball game. EA Sports has committed to building a basketball experience from the ground up, just as they did with college football. Building a game of this scale is a significant investment, and to maximize this opportunity, EA Sports is requiring exclusive action simulation rights to college basketball. And I don't know if that extends to college football as well. But
who would have specified if it was college football? It seems like it's only college basketball, and I think maybe that kind of adds more like credence to 2K having college basketball lumped in with the normal 2K experience.
The thing is that there's only like the NCAA is the NCAA, like that's who they're doing the deal with, and the NCAA is they are over basketball and football and basically any other sports related to college. So I don't think their rights would just be, oh, we're just gonna do only like you can have exclusivity in basketball but not football. I think if they get a deal with NCAA, it's gonna be every college sport.
College baseball next year? Question mark.
So here we are, and it doesn't seem like this is set in stone as of yet, but here we are. EA being EA, instead of trying to go bar for bar and battle them with innovative gameplay and trying to go head to head by trying to basically make the best possible game that they can make. Instead, they are trying to gain exclusivity rights so that they don't have to compete. They just want to make the game that they want to make without, putting too much effort in, because that would cost money and time and talent. Nobody got time for that.
Oh, no, not at all.
So that right there kind of like, honestly, that alone kind of made me less hype for EA's college basketball, because like we need to stop letting EA get away with this shit. The fact that this NFL contract is still in effect today is baffling, but we do still have a little bit of hope, because Chris Vanini, who I don't know who this guy is, but he did get a statement on behalf of 2K Sports where they said 2K is the undisputed home of basketball gaming. We have a strong history with college hoops and are exploring exciting new ways to bring athletes and schools to life. Classes in session. So it seems 2K is still confident, at least, that so it doesn't seem like there's some set deal in place.
It could just be a contract for 1 year, and then after that year is done, then they can make a full proper college basketball game.
Maybe, but that could be, I could see that happening. But yeah, it does seem like 2K is set on making their basketball game. Whether it's coming out next year or the year after that, we won't know until we get more info. I guess really a full announcement, because we still haven't really got an actual announcement besides that tease. But yeah, that's basically what's been going on with these college basketball games. But Subeg, how are you feeling about the chances that EA might lock down NCAA?
Yeah, that'd be that'd be wild. I mean, it's not unprecedented from them to do something like that. That sounds like a move that they would do, honestly. But that would suck, though. That would kill the potential of anyone else trying to do a college basketball game, or like a separate one. But I mean, it's EA. It's as expected, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't go through, because we haven't had sports games used to be such a competitive genre.
Yeah,
like
all of them, sports.
It used to literally be, we used to have MLB versus MLB, or MLB The Show versus MLB 2K. 2K lost that battle, they bowed out. Now it's just MLB The Show, and I guess Super Mega Baseball, but EA also, EA owns them, but they're not, it's not the same.
And then there's that one like Chinese or Japanese baseball game that's like
that never
sim
comes
game,
to
but
America.
yeah, that's apparently good too.
It's supposed to be really good. So, baseball is really just MLB The Show.
Yep.
Basketball, it was NBA Live and 2K. NBA 2K ate their lunch, just like they did with football. And then EA finally bowed out like 3 times because they tried to come back a few times. It just never worked out. 2K was just too dominant. It was football. Obviously, we just talked about what happened there. When it came to soccer, was literally the last time that we had like real competition between FIFA and PES. And like, I was always a PES fan. Konami, like, they didn't have all of the leagues and they didn't have all of the players that FIFA had, but their mechanics were so much better than FIFA. And eventually they just could not compete with FIFA, and they went the free-to-play route with eFootball, and that game sucks. So
it's
Konami
weird though, because
out.
they gave up the FIFA name, and it's called Football
FC.
Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they could do is like Konami could just buy the rights to FIFA and just go for a big swing and have and their game being called FIFA something, and it could be a big game for them. But Konami's having their own upswing recently, so maybe once that continues, maybe they'll kind of go give the football approach better next time.
Yeah. So yeah, we need that competitive space again, because that's the last time we really got these developers actually trying.
Absolutely.
Once they became monopolies, we've seen all of that work that 2K was doing. It just started to slowly go down the drain. They were just like, oh, NBA Live's not coming out anymore. Okay, we can put a little less effort. We can put a little less money into it. We can be more greedy. We can charge them more. They don't care. We don't have to make a PC version. we can make the last gen version, the PC version, for 6 years, and then finally do the next gen version for PC players.
Wait, they really did that?
Yes, the PC version up until this year or last year's release, which was 2K25, was the PS4 and Xbox One version of the game.
Why?
Ever since 2K20 came out and it was on PS5 and Series X, they've been giving PC players the PS4 and Xbox One version. Why?
Why?
That's what I want to know. Every year I would be like, what is up with y'all?
Okay, we can curse, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
What the fuck? Like, come on! Like, it's not that. Isn't it literally just flipping some switches for just like settings options? Why the hell?
They designed the games completely different. Like the PS4 and Xbox One versions don't have like the open world. They don't have stuff like that. They're basically gimped versions of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's so basically the PC players were playing exactly like the Switch players. That's how bad it was, because the Switch version was the PS4 and Xbox One version.
Oh god, that is awful.
And the crazy part is, if they would have waited one more year to make the PC version next gen, the Switch 2 version would have came out and been the next gen version, while the PC version would have still been the last gen, and that would have been the most hilarious thing ever.
Are you telling me we could have been in a timeline where this is the best basketball experience?
Exactly.
Wow. That's freaking insane, man. I can't.
But yeah, it is. I'm still kind of excited just to see how this all plays out with the college basketball. But anything else before we move on to the big topic?
I'm ready.
All right. You know, the topic was actually supposed to be a positive Xbox topic because for over like a week now, we've been seeing all of this. Oh, Xbox hardware is dead from like Laura Fryer, from Mike Ibarra, all of these previous Xbox and Microsoft execs. Like Laura Fryer literally was one of the creators of the Xbox, and they're out here talking crazy, talking about how all of these moves that they're making, it just means that Xbox is confused and they don't know what their direction is. They're getting out of the hardware business. Xbox hardware is dead. And then people like Jez, people like myself over here like, bro, they literally just announced new hardware 2 weeks ago. Why are we even having this conversation in the first place? And if anything, this is like what they announced is basically the vision that they have been working towards since the beginning of the Series X generation. They're just finally realizing it instead of kind of half-assing each section of like PC, cloud, and Xbox. They're finally fully realizing the potential of all three. So this is what the topic was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like, oh yeah, we need to stop hating on Xbox. You know, hashtag Game Pass, hashtag love
Hold the
Xbox, hold the line. Yeah, all of that. Well, all of that. Yeah, and hashtag no PS6. You know, all of that went out the window today. All of that positive Xbox shit is out the window. We not giving no praises. Game Pass, you can sit in the corner for now. We not worried about you right now because we got some problems. I got problems right now.
I got some fucking problems myself. Let's go.
So we've been hearing rumblings and rumors. Even last Wednesday when we were recording the show, we got like the first rumblings of some layoffs coming and some possible
I mentioned
studio.
it, huh?
Yeah, it was literally on the podcast that you mentioned that they were talking about it in the Discord. And
Yeah, one of the first developers was Turn 10, I think, though, coming out, giving like a heads up to something to the team, like, hey, something might be happening next week.
yeah, so we've been hearing rumblings of a possible studio closure, game cancellations, and obviously a ton of layoffs. And you know, we kind of had some time to prepare ourselves. Like, you know, people were speculating. I know Subeg was saying it might be Turn 10, although they did get hit, but they are not closed down.
I was joking though. I was joking.
Okay. But people were speculating like, oh, Compulsion, you know, South of Midnight didn't do that well. It might be Compulsion. And I was over here like, you know what? I wouldn't care if Compulsion went. Get Compulsion ass out of here, because they'd have pissed me off 2 times in a row now, and I'm not. I'll be okay. But
South of Midnight.
Yeah, South of Midnight.
I liked it. Like I thought the combat absolutely was the weakest point, but the platforming I really enjoyed. The music was genuinely really good, and I love the art style. But I understand it's a deeply flawed game. I just really liked what I played. I played the whole thing and I really enjoyed it, but I know it's deeply flawed.
But it's the same flaws that they've been having since We Happy Few. It's always the gameplay. Like, We Happy Few had an amazing world, but the gameplay was just so ass that I could not put up with it. And I'm over here like,
combat was ass, but the platforming was solid. At least I thought it was. So, but I cut you off. I'm sorry. Continue what you were saying.
It is what it is, but like I wanted more from South of Midnight. Like everything about that game, the vibe, obviously, like I love everything about what South of Midnight was supposed to be. But at the end of the day, gameplay is all that matters. And if the gameplay isn't hidden for me, it's just not gonna do it. So we heard rumors that Wednesday was gonna be the day that everything goes down. And it was funny because I'm over here working and the information was just trickling. Like slowly you would get some news. We heard the first rumblings, like, okay, Phil put out the memo. You know, he didn't mention any studio closures or anything specific. He was just like, yeah, there's layoffs, you know, but we're making a lot of money. So that's good. We got 40 projects. We got over 40 projects in development. But some of y'all just gotta pack y'all bags. You know, we breaking records. We making money, but some of y'all gotta pack y'all bags so that Satya Nadella can get his bonus and his salary increase.
Because that's what matters in the end. You know, the money bags up top, they get that money at the expense of everyone else losing their livelihoods.
So it started trickling. You know, you're hearing, oh, Microsoft is laying off employees at King and ZeniMax Media. You're like, oh, okay. Like, obviously we care that people are losing their jobs, but when you start to weigh stuff, it's like, oh, King, yeah, I'm okay with that. You're like, no, King, it's only King. Oh yeah, I'm. You know what? That's not that bad. I thought it was gonna be worse than that. So it starts to trickle in, and then you hear, oh, Turn 10, half of their staff. Or sorry, not half. It wasn't half, but like a good chunk of their staff got axed. I'm like, oh, but Turn
just
10.
Just enough to support the Forza Motorsport, and most likely just be a support studio making the cars and the back end stuff for the Horizon games at this point.
Yeah, but Turn 10 is they don't only work on Forza. They've worked on Halo. They've worked on Gears. They've worked on they got Starfield out the door. Like, Turn 10 is everywhere, so it wouldn't just be for Forza. They are they also make up some of the ATG, which is like it's Xbox's XDev for PlayStation, where they kind of basically bring some of these games up to standard. So they're everywhere. So it's like, oh man, like Turn 10 is getting their staff rocked. And then you hear the first big one, Rare's Everwild canceled. And it's like, yo, come on, bro. We were just hearing good things about Everwild. It was finally coming together. Like Jess was saying that, bro, we had Phil Spencer literally tweet that he was at Rare and he got to play the game. And he was like, man, isn't it great when you got to give these devs the time to make their game so that it can come together. And then 6 months later, here we are. So Everwild gets canceled, and it's like, okay, you know what? It sucks, right? But I didn't see Everwild gameplay. And that game has been through a lot of trouble. We don't even know what kind of game it is. You know what? For me, I was like, I can accept this. It's okay. Everything is okay. But then Jez puts out the report where he's like, I'm investigating reports that ZeniMax Online's new IP and Perfect Dark have also been impacted. And I'm like, I swear to God, if anything happens to Perfect Dark, it's a wrap for y'all. So then Jason Schreier comes out maybe like an hour later, and then he puts out the new MMORPG project from ZeniMax Online Studios, maker of Elder Scrolls Online, has been canceled as part of the Xbox layoffs. And then that's when it hit me. It's over for Perfect Dark. If this one's getting canceled and Jez said both of them, he was investigating both, there's a good chance that it was gonna be both of them. And I was literally like working and just refreshing Twitter to see what was next. And then like an hour later, Jess comes out. He says, State of Decay 3 is safe. I'm like, oh, thank God. That if State of Decay, like, lose it. If I was to lose Perfect Dark and State of Decay, bro, it'd be curtains. I ain't gonna lie. So then he's like, it's still going, and I'm over it. Okay, I'm like, oh wait, it's been an hour since we learned about Elder Scrolls. Maybe Perfect Dark is safe. Maybe it's in the clear. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they have some layoffs of the like 30 people still left at the initiative, but the game is still going because we got like, oh, Raven Studios and Sledgehammer are getting laid off. I'm like, bro, how are the Call of Duty studios getting laid off? Like, what's going on here? And that's when Jason Schreier. Oh yeah, so it was. This is when he comes out and he's like, Turn 10 has been impacted hard. Nearly 50% of the staff, which is a pretty crazy number. But then, the most heart-wrenching news of all, where Jez Corden says confirmed Microsoft is shutting down the initiative and canceling Perfect Dark. So, just to bring in some of the other studios impacted, High Moon Studios. Actually, I think that might have been the last one out of all of this.
For now, I wouldn't be shocked for the rest of the week we hear more layoffs and potential cancellations. I would not be surprised at all.
But some of the ones that are still safe, that are kind of in limbo right now, Arcane Leon's Blade is still safe, so that's good to hear, because we know the Marvel projects cost a shit ton of money. That could have definitely been on the chopping block. But I guess State of Decay 3, we still don't know some of their like third party exclusives, like Contraband. Like we don't know what's going on with Contraband right now. So, but right now, State of Decay 3 and Blade are safe. And they also said everything that was shown off at this year's showcase is safe.
Can I chime in and talk now, if that's okay?
Yeah. So wait, let me make sure. Okay, so I set up everything, I think. So you can go ahead.
I thought we learned, Microsoft, if you're listening to this, I thought you learned your lesson. I thought you learned your lesson about announcing games and, actually releasing them. But, sorry, that was dramatic effect. I apologize. Like, at this point, like, the one thing about Microsoft has been, throughout the Xbox One generation, there was Scalebound, there was Phantom Dust, there was Fable Legends, and what was the common through line? They announce these projects. Some of them are just teasers, some of them are fully playable to the press and the public during events, and guess what? You cancel them. You cancel very public announcements. And I thought, you know what, Microsoft, hey, we learned from this, we're not doing this again. We announced Everwild, that'll come out eventually. We announced Perfect Dark, and we actually show gameplay that'll come out eventually, right? No! What that tells me is that what you just mentioned, like, they came out and gave I'm gonna be blunt because we're allowed to curse here, bullshit promises that everything shown off at the Xbox, like, showcase, that's safe. I don't believe it, because literally a year and a half ago, you showed us gameplay of Perfect Dark, and guess what? That game is canned now. So who is to say Clockwork Revolution's gonna come out? That has no release window. It says it's in development still. And if you're shutting down Perfect Dark, how am I supposed to trust that Clockwork Revolution is going to come out on time? I get that In Exile is very different from the situation at the Initiative, but that doesn't change the fact that both are ambitious games. And one ambitious game that doesn't have the Halo, Gears, Forza Horizon specifically name attached to it. Who's to say that anything that's not part of like the core like top banana franchises is safe? I don't believe it. Like, and to be blunt, I am sick and tired of all of us here are like part of in the game industry, and I remember one of the earliest things I did with Lords of Gaming was do all the coverage surrounding the death and the revival of Tango and all the shutdowns of the other Bethesda studios. Like, how we like, and keep in mind, this was a year ago. All this happened, and we're doing this again. And like, at this point, it's ridiculous. How are we supposed to be excited about your roadmap of games and your lineup of titles if we can't trust that games that you've publicly announced and show up are gonna actually freaking come out? It is frankly ridiculous. And this completely is putting aside just how awful it must be to be a studio within Microsoft. How can you feel confident that you're working your ass off making a really damn good game, or you're making a game that's not coming together perfectly, but you're doing the best you can? And say, for example, imagine if you're Compulsion right now, or you're Ninja Fury right now, you put out 7, 8 out of 10 games, and you're confident and proud of the work you did, even if it didn't fully come together the way you intended. You must be scared shitless right now, because your next project might very well be the last project out the door. I hate to say this, but I fully expect the studios like Double Fine, Compulsion, Ninja Theory, all three of us are gonna be working together on an article covering those studios being shut down and the next wave of layoffs next year. Because Microsoft isn't being run by. Because even if Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty had genuinely good intentions when spearheading the Class of 2018, as COG would call them, and all these other, and like the developers they acquired, it doesn't change. They're not in charge anymore. Satya Nadella's in charge, and you know what that means? If you're not Call of Duty, you're not Fallout, you're not Halo, you're not Gears, you're not Forza Horizon, we don't care about you. That's a message that's being sent with these layoffs. And like, they're not playing it. And keep in mind, like, you have a studio like the Elder Scrolls like online team. They've consistently put out and supported a really good MMO game by all accounts by the people who love that game. They deserve the chance to make a new IP. But you know what Satya Nadella and the high ups of Microsoft said? That costs money. We're gonna make more money if you keep funneling that content into Elder Scrolls Online. So your new project is being canceled, and you're going to be working on this. And the whole situation with Rare and Everwild also screams this too. Like, hey, Sea of Thieves makes us money, we're going to inevitably bring it to Switch too, and we're going to keep funneling support into that. Instead of you making risky IPs that take forever to come out, no, you're going to Sea of Thieves. This is the lane you've made for yourself during the Xbox One generation, and you got success. You're gonna stay in that lane, and if you get out of that lane, you know what's gonna happen? Your game gets shut down. And it's just depressing when you know one of the and also keep in mind when Phil Spencer and made that like generic comment of, oh, we canceled some unannounced projects. One of those unannounced projects apparently was a Banjo-Kazooie game. That's not happening anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. I love to hear that. That's great. You know, and that also explains why two of the longest standing Rare developers walked out the building. They didn't get laid off, they left. Probably because they're a small Banjo project or small like Return the Form IP was probably canned. Because that's not gonna make profit for Xbox in the modern age. They want those Call of Duty numbers. And look, and in the end of the day, like, as someone who got a Series X because I genuinely really liked the creative efforts and the creative vision Microsoft had. And throughout the generation, that creative energy has been slowly going away to the point where now they just want to just make AAA titles. Okay, fine. Just don't expect me to be a number one supporter about like, oh, you're Microsoft. You make creative games. You don't do that anymore. Like, I mean, you try. I mean, I think what Double Fine's latest project is probably going to be one of the last genuinely creative smaller titles from them going forward. Everything else going forward for Microsoft is AAA because we could sell that at $80 on all platforms. Or I'm sorry, we can no, you could be a support studio for something. And that's why I believe studios like Compulsion might close their doors or be folded into be a support studio. Like, thankfully, a developer like Ninja Theory, with the amazing tech they did with Hellblade 2, they have a place within Microsoft with that mocap studio and their expertise, which they could easily team up with the Coalition or Halo Studios and help with their projects. But someone like Coalition, who's very artsy, or someone like Double Fine, who is very, like, creatively empowered, they don't have a place within Microsoft anymore. And the tragic part is that's what Microsoft and Phil Spencer sold them on when they acquired them. The idea that you can make the game you want to make, you don't have to worry about them selling because it's going to be in Game Pass. The engagement is what we care about. That's not what they care about anymore. They care about sales numbers. And in the end of the day, if you're I would be stunned if many developers from Microsoft who aren't making the surefire safe bets are comfortable in that building today. And the worst part of it all, I don't think we're done talking about this. I think we're going to be hearing about more layoffs and potential game cancellations and even a closure of another studio by the end of the week. Because this is a developing story. And I hope to God I'm wrong. I hate the fact that people are losing their jobs. I hate the fact that this industry, if you're in the Western market, is basically not even something you can comfortably walk into. It's just really sad. And sorry if I rambled for a while, but I'm genuinely annoyed.
I hear you. I feel your pain. But I do have to come at some of the points that you were trying to make. Because you're saying that...
So feel free to go ahead and count me.
You're saying that you think that this is the end of, like, Xbox trying to get these creative games out, and the Compulsions, the Double Fines. These are the studios that are going, like, they'll be gone, and there'll be nothing but AAA games from Xbox, and that's what they're trying to go towards, the AAA experience. But from all of the layoffs that we've seen, it's only been the AAA experiences that were hit. We haven't seen Compulsion layoffs. We haven't seen Double Fine layoffs. We haven't seen Ninja Theory layoffs. It's only been Call of Duty studio. Yes, we're saying but like, I'm pretty sure like those would be some of the first ones that we would hear about. Especially if it's I mean, I guess there is a chance that we might get more studio closure, but I feel like that would have already been one of the bigger developments if a whole studio closed down. I think that would be kind of easy to spot. But as of now, with the information that we have, we've only seen Call of Duty studios being hit. We've seen Turn 10, that is AAA, being hit. We've seen the Initiative, that is a quadruple A, as they tried to call it, studio being shut down. But we're not seeing Compulsion, we're not seeing Ninja Theory, we're not seeing Double Fine being hit. So I understand where you're trying to come from, but I just don't, like, the actions that are happening isn't matching the point that you're trying to make, in my eyes, because
I would love to be proven wrong, man. I would love to be wrong in this situation, but
because it's only been the super expensive projects, the ones that have been in, like, Rare has been working on Everwild since it's almost about to be 8 years since they started this project, and it doesn't seem like it was coming out next year. So as much as I hate,
not to interrupt you, but why did Phil Spencer say, "Oh, the game's coming along great," and then you suddenly shut the studio down?
Because we can't trust anything that comes out of Phil's mouth, as we saw with the business update in February of last year or the year before. I can't even remember. So you can't trust anything that they say. But see, in my eyes, I always say, if you've put that much time and effort into the game, what's the why even waste all of that money and time by canceling the project when you can at least wrap it up, put it out, get your money back? The people who like it, they'll like it. If they don't like it and it doesn't sell, okay, at least you tried. And you'll get something back at the end of the day. I don't understand this whole thing of like, oh well, we're gonna just cancel it because we wasted so much time, and it's still not ready, and it might not make back the money.
Tax write-off? Maybe that might be what they're doing.
Maybe, but yeah, like at the end of the day, I can understand everyone, because that game was in development for a long ass time. We did not see anything from it, really. We got 2 teasers of CGI, not even in-game footage or like in-game cinematics. That's an understandable win. It's like in, what was it, last year when they closed down those studios?
Yeah.
Like, I love Arcane Austin, but it was understandable why they closed them down after Redfall. But the one that hit was Tango, because they literally just put out an amazing game, one of the best games of that year.
And I supported it. I got it on PlayStation. I got the game on PC for a buddy. I got the mug. It's
great game. It was an amazing game.
It would have been my game of the year if Final Fantasy 16 didn't come out.
Feels better, but oh, also, I didn't want to throw you off earlier, but good riddance that they canceled Banjo-Kazooie. That was actually a win for us. But
is it?
Yes, definitely.
No. We want more 3D platformers. No,
we don't. We want good 3D platformers. We don't want Banjo-Kazooie. But jokes aside, so I wanted to see what Rare was doing with Everwild, especially since this was supposed to be another one of those big online kind of new experiences that Sea of Thieves was, something that hasn't been done before. I wanted to see what would come out of that. So I am sad that Everwild was canceled, but at the same time, I can kind of understand why. But before I finish my what I want to say, I'm gonna let Subeg go ahead and get his bars off. How are you feeling after everything that happened today?
Yeah, man, I I woke up to the chaos. I guess the chaos had already ended at that point as I woke up, but I was catching up. So just seeing all the points. The first thing I seen was Perfect Dark being canned, so that was the first thing that I actually woke up to. But yeah, man, it doesn't make me happy, especially considering that we just seen Perfect Dark last year. They showed off a really sizable chunk of, I guess, a vertical slice at this point, or whatever it was. But, you know, they showed off a really, like, nice chunk of gameplay. Don knows this. I literally talk about it every time we do a showcase anything. It's like, I want unedited gameplay, and they fucking showed it for that game. Like, they literally did. So yeah, definitely disappointed about that. Everwild, it's more in the air because we didn't really know what it was. But for the initiative, everything that I know about what was happening, behind closed doors and all that, it's like, to me, it seemed like from the jump, it was an uphill battle for them. Like, from the jump. With them hiring a bunch of like really talented people in the industry. But the thing about that is they hired a bunch of talented people, but they were all like fighting with each other with their ideas and concepts and like what they wanted the game to be. So like, it sucks. It sucks. But how I see it is like maybe it was a lot worse than we expected. Like, and also like Crystal Dynamics, maybe they couldn't help the game out as much as we thought that they could have. But yeah, man, it's a lot of seniority in that studio that could have been the downfall for it. People wanting their ideas in the game over other people's ideas, that comes with the fact of like everyone thinks that like they're them. Everyone thinks that like they're that guy or that girl.
Everybody wants to be the lead singer. Nobody wants to play drums. No one wants to be the rhythm guitar. Nobody wants to play bass. No,
Someone had to though.
And definitely nobody wanted to be the one on tambourine. They would rather die than be on tambourine. But
Exactly.
You can't have a band if everybody's trying to be the lead singer.
Exactly.
Unless it's a acoustic, or not acoustic, but a acapella group. That would be the only way. But I'm just
yeah. Yeah, man.
What
like
most is, why did you re-reveal the game if it was in such a development hell? Just shut up and just make an announcement saying the game didn't come together. We're sorry to disappoint everybody, because again, this Xbox Net didn't fucking learn. They keep announcing games and then they cancel them years later. Like, come on. Like, that's why I was making the comments earlier about Clockwork. There's no firm release date. How am I supposed to believe that's actually going to get across the finish line when Perfect Dark didn't get a firm release date? Sorry if I interrupted you. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm sure Don was probably gonna bring up Nintendo, but I glaze Nintendo about like all the time. Like, I talk about their cadence, and I talk about them wanting to keep their developers. Like that, and it's so funny to me. Like whenever people do praise Nintendo, it always comes with like, it's like, oh, but they're evil, they're greedy, like blah blah blah. But it's like, they've survived this long because of the decisions that they've made. Like you gotta look at them for inspiration, like as in, like how to survive. And it's like, yeah, they do make like a lot of Mario games, but at the same time, it's like not every Mario game hits. Like the that golfing one that just came out, that didn't hit that great. Like, so it's like they still experiment with stuff, and it's like some things stick, some things don't, but you still keep on trying, right?
Perfect example is Metroid Prime 4. Like, how long that one's been in development, but they gave, but you know what? It didn't work out with Bandai Namco. They gave it to Retro Studios, and they let them cook.
You took one of my. I was gonna go into that, but I'm yeah.
Right.
But anything else, Subeg? Or
yeah, I mean, other than the fact that like, yeah, like, I feel for the devs. They're the people. They're the people that are behind these games. I feel like a lot of the people that just play games, they forget that it's we get these games because of the humans behind the screens making the game. So I feel for them for sure.
All right. So I kind of said some of what I wanted to say on the Everwild and Rare thing. Like, I didn't want Rare to have layoffs, but the Everwild cancellation is something I can understand just based off of how that development has gone. Because as a player, I'm always, if you announce the game, you gotta put that shit out. That's where I'm at. I understand from a business perspective why you would want to cancel something like Everwild, because even after all of the time that they've put into this game, there's still a high chance that this game just was not gonna do Sea of Thieves level for Rare, which would probably result in layoffs after it fails.
At least the game would come across the finish line.
Yeah, but at least you saw it through, and you didn't basically disappoint fans because you announced something and then took it without even giving it to them, like giving them a chance to see if they would even enjoy it. So I'm always of the mind, if you announce that shit, you gotta put it out. Scalebound, Fable Legends, the actual real version of Crackdown 3 that y'all showed off, not that bullshit that you put out.
Yep.
And I still feel the same way. But it's one thing to show a teaser trailer and that's it. You know, you get some CGI and then the game's canceled. I'm like, okay, like it wasn't real to me, you know. So it did, like, for me, Everwild, it hurts, but it wasn't real enough that it's like, I just lost something today. Perfect Dark was real to me. That shit means something to me. Because that gameplay that we saw last year was, even if it was just a vertical slice and it wasn't actually representative of the gameplay, the in-game experience that they had so far, that was one of the best showings for a game that they've done. Like the Clockwork Revolution one is definitely the best now, but like last year, that was one of the ones that stole the show.
Absolutely. Best looking game, ran well, looked beautiful, seemed very in-depth with its mechanics.
And the fact that you showed me that, and then you now it's like, oh, this doesn't exist anymore. That's what really pisses me off. And like, this was one of my most anticipated, bro. I'm over here like, this was at the top of my bingo card of 2026. Like, yeah, this is gonna be one of the greats that come out. If we get in like Fable, Perfect Dark, a new Halo, probably a remake, Gears, E-Day, all of this come out 2026, bro. But at the same time, it's also kind of like, I understand at the same time because of everything that went down with the initiative. Now, what I don't understand is why they even waited this long. Because it only took like 2 years for the initiative to implode upon itself after they were created. Like 3 years. They were already imploding. If I don't understand why they didn't shut them down at that point. And maybe just make Crystal Dynamics a third party deal to make Perfect Dark just them. But obviously,
I mean, that's what ended up in the end anyway, from the sounds of it.
So like the closure of the initiative, like I don't really, I never saw them as an actual studio because of everything that went down. Anyways, they barely had any developers left in the first place. So like I don't know how to view like the initiative as a closed studio, but it's not on the level of like closing down Tango Gameworks or closing down Arcane Austin, because this studio is basically a shell of what it was supposed to be in the first place. I mean, I guess at the time when Hi-Fi, like after Hi-Fi Rush came out, Tango Gameworks was a shell of what they were anyways, because a lot of the devs had already left. But it was more about the game cancellation than the studio closure for me. Now, the other layoffs, it's just something that we can expect every year now. I don't see this coming to an end, and it's not even just Xbox at this point. It's literally every publisher, every console manufacturer, unless your name is Nintendo. Unless your name is Nintendo. This is just something that has been normalized since 2022, when the gaming industry just imploded, and now you just see thousands and thousands of devs every single year just getting laid off, studios closing down.
It makes you ask, why do you want, like, how do you expect people to want to work in this industry if there's no job security? Like, the one thing about the reason, like, you'll probably get to it in a bit, but there's a reason why Nintendo games are so good.
Yeah. And it's the same, like, even like you can not like Bethesda games, but Bethesda had, like, the actual Bethesda game studio, they have a very, very high retention rate. And that's why they are able to still put out these games that feel like, oh, nothing has changed. Like, it's the same Bethesda as the ones that put out Morrowind. When Nintendo drops a game, it's the same Nintendo that put out Mario 64, that put out Ocarina of Time, that put out Super Mario Sunshine. Because guess who's still there? The same developers that have been there since the beginning. And even when we have new teams and new, like some new, and I say new loosely because when most of the time they've been there for like 10, 15 years when they start directing some of these bigger games like Splatoon, and like Splatoon, that was the new people, the new faces who made Splatoon, but it still feels Nintendo. ARMS still feels Nintendo. Now Drag X Drive, I don't know what that is, but you know, we sometimes you gotta let some of the bullshit slide just to see what happened. But
Exactly.
there's a reason that Nintendo is still as highly regarded as they are, why they have the most 90 plus rated games, why they have 40-year-old franchises that still hit as good as they did in 1985. And it's because they've kept their devs around. They don't just fire their devs willy-nilly. When's the last time you heard about a mass layoff of more than like even 3% at Nintendo? It hasn't happened in forever.
No. If anything, like, the executives kind of take the hit. Like on the 3DS, didn't do particularly well. Iwata took a huge pay cut, and when they slashed the price, so and the studio, and it wasn't the developers' fault. They took the hit. Same with the Wii U, they took the hit because it wasn't the team's fault. It was some business issues. Yeah.
And that's what always makes it worse, is that it's never the developer's fault. And maybe never is kind of, I shouldn't use never, but like 9 times out of 10, it's not the developer's fault. It's executives and their terrible business decisions or terrible management in the first place. you can tell
How does
Nintendo knows
how does
how.
Matt do that job? Like, I'm sorry if I'm calling.
Actually,
I'm calling out.
we're gonna get to like the actual,
Oh, okay.
but I want to get to that later. But it's funny that this actually came out the same, literally as all of this is going on. This came out of Nintendo, where the head execs, Shintaro Furukawa, Miyamoto, Takahashi, and Shibata, they are all getting lower pay this year because of the performance of last year. Because of the performance of last year, they're getting lower pay this year. Now, notice they're getting lower pay, but no studios are getting closed. There are no game cancellations. There's no layoffs to speak of. Now, let's see at the end of all of these layoffs if we see Phil Spencer getting his pay cut. Is Satya Nadella getting a pay cut? Is any of this happening? We'll see.
No.
But I will speak in the future and say no, none of that is happening. I guarantee. If anything, I would be surprised if we don't see Satya Nadella getting a bump in pay, like he always does.
He will get a bump in pay because of the multi-platform strategy seemingly paying off for
The
them.
money, yeah.
So the whole Nintendo is evil argument that people like to put because they didn't want to they didn't make developers pay an extra $14 for physical cartridges, or they didn't, like, they have the right to brick your console if you decide to try doing something that you shouldn't be doing with the console. Y'all can miss me with that shit. That's all I gotta say. Because
Nintendo,
the true evil is showing that Perfect Dark trailer last year, going to Rare and playing Everwild and tweeting out how excited you are for everyone to get their hands on this game, and then shutting down the game, shutting down the studios, all of this. That's the true evil. I ain't trying to hear nothing y'all gotta say about Nintendo when y'all still support these publishers and manufacturers who are doing stuff like this.
So I have a question for you guys. What game or games do you think are going to get canceled next? I don't want to wish anything into existence, but if you have games in a similar situation like that Everwild is in, like Contraband and State of Decay 3, and so on, what game do you think might get canceled next?
I mean, I feel like the only thing that could be canceled at this point is Contraband. And I mean next as in like this year, not waiting until next year for the next round of layoffs.
Yeah, I could see that being the case too. I also think if we don't see State of Decay at the next Xbox showcase, that's next. I hope I'm wrong, but I can't trust them.
But usually, or at least how I feel from these layoffs, I feel like budget it determines how things go. And for the most part, Undead Labs is they're not getting that AAA. Like their games have upgraded to look more AAA with State of Decay 3, but I don't think they're that, like, the people at Initiative, they were getting paid a shit ton because they were all senior designers and programmers, and like they were all senior employees, even though obviously there weren't as many people as there were before. They their salaries was probably not matching the output that they were getting, basically. ZeniMax Online, I'm pretty sure they're getting paid. Like, I think that's where it comes down to. Like, the budgets for the next MMORPG, honestly, any MMORPG is going to be a huge budget. That game was in development since 2018, and that adds up. I don't think something like State of Decay 3 is one of those on the radar ballooning budget type of games, even if it's taking a longer time. Same thing with like Hellblade 2. Like, Hellblade 2 looks amazing, but you can tell by the scope that game there wasn't that much put into it as far as development costs, you know.
And plus, they can also be a really good support studio for other Xbox teams with their mastery of Unreal 5.
And that's why. But then you look at things like Turn 10. Forza Motorsport was supposed to be a huge deal, but it just fell flat in every way when it came out. And now you see that they're getting hit because I'm pretty sure that's where it comes. Like, the numbers guys are obviously the ones in charge at Xbox. We've been saying that for a while. You see, let's see, Forza Motorsport came out. They put like 200 million, maybe 300 million into this game, and it just did not do anywhere close to as good as any of the past Forza, especially not Forza Horizon, which just flourished. So why are we still paying? Why are we still giving Turn 10 as much budget and employees as they're getting? Just give them enough to support, like, have enough people to support these other games. Still create the next engine for Forza Horizon, and that's all they really need. All right, then so ZeniMax Online Studios. Just have enough of them to support Elder Scrolls Online, because we see that they've been working on this game for 8 years, and it's about to be 200, 300. Like, they've already went past the budget for this game. Let's shut that down. Everwild, they've been working on this game. 150 million, 200 million on this game. Yeah, we gotta shut that down. The Initiative, we're paying a third-party developer to help make this game, and we're paying all of these seniors at the Initiative, and it's just not. It's been too long. It's already over budget. We're shutting this down too. And that's where I feel like that's literally what I can see from these layoffs. It doesn't feel like it's about like them trying, like how RK was saying, that they're trying to kill like the more creative studios, or they're trying to, like, they're not gonna let, because Double Fine can, like, it could have been another 2 years of them working on Keeper. That budget was not gonna get crazy because of how small Double Fine is. Same thing like with Compulsion.
I hope I'm wrong when I say those comments. Like, I really hope that those studios live to live on until another day, but I don't feel confident that they will next year. I want to be wrong, and this is just me kind of just speaking emotionally and not, thinking like logically. But it's just...
I'm only going off of what we can see, and from what we can see, I don't see. From everything we're seeing, it doesn't seem like it's what you were saying. It literally looks like a number situation where these high budget games with long developments and these studios that just weren't meeting. And because right now the only studio closure so far has been the Initiative. But I feel like if we would have seen something like Compulsion or Double Fine, like last year, we saw Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks. They got shut down. But we kind of got more info on why it was them, and it had nothing to do with like the quality of their games or anything. It just had to do with the fact that them being a Japanese studio, they did not have a way to kind of contribute to other Xbox projects because of the language barrier, because of the hours, and how far, like, when these other studios are up and about, Tango Gameworks is not up at those times to be like, they can't be a support studio, but also their games aren't doing enough to kind of support themselves either. So logically, I see why they were one of them. Arcane Austin had one of the biggest flops and basically kind of butchered the Xbox brand for that, like, for a while, because of how bad Redfall was. Like, I can see why they were closed down. What was the other one? I forgot their name.
Roundhouse.
Yeah, Roundhouse hadn't put out a single project. They literally just been support, and they were support on Redfall, and it came out horrible. So I can see why they were closed. But like, it seems like they're like, when you look at these layoffs, you can see the picture of what they like, why usually. Now, even going to the Sony side, like, I love Japan Studio. I was heartbroken when Japan Studio was closed down. But even I can look at it logically, and I can see why Japan Studio was closed down. No, as much as I love Gravity Rush 2, that game did not sell. Guess what else didn't sell? The Last Guardian did not sell. Guess what else didn't sell? Even Bloodborne with From Software did not sell. Like, it gets to a
You
point.
think otherwise? People talk about Bloodborne.
I say that every time. You would think that was doing Elden Ring numbers, the way people talk about Bloodborne. But you see it, like, I understand you can get emotional about it, but some, like, if we're gonna talk about it here, we gotta be at least a little bit logical and look at it from the standpoint of what's actually going on. Not to say that I like what's going on, but
I tend to be pretty negative when it comes to things that like this. Like, I just kind of go worst case scenario immediately. So
yeah, I was there during the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, Arcade. I know how you can.
And look at what happened.
So,
oh my god.
So for me, looking at it, it's like, man. But at the end of the day, I always have to regress a little bit and look at it from the fact that, hey, if these studios weren't able to get these games out in time and they were going over budget and stuff, that comes down to the management of these studios in the first place.
Yep.
So that's basically what I want to look at now. If these games, we've seen it multiple times now, that these games are just not meeting their quotas, they're not making it out on time, they're getting delayed endlessly, 7+ years, 8+ years, and then some of these games that we waited 6+ years for, like Hellblade 2 and South of Midnight, they come out and they're not even the fully, like, they haven't even reached the full potential of what we thought that they would be achieving in all of this time. Like, they spent all of this time to make something that didn't even feel worth it at the end, or at least they didn't hit every mark that they should have. So when it comes down to it, I think the management is where we should be looking, not at the actual devs or the studios. because I always use like Platinum as a good example, because you can see when Platinum is managed well, like Nier Automata, like Nintendo with Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. Even though Bayonetta 3's story and everything was kind of definitely off, but like gameplay wise, it was still a great Bayonetta game. But then you see Square Enix trying to get Platinum to make an online multiplayer game with Babylon's Fall. That was total mismanagement on their part.
Babylon's Fall that doesn't exist anymore.
Or Activision trying to get them to make these licensed games with low budgets and no time. Like, that's mismanagement when these games come out. But we know that Platinum, when given the right management, given the right funding, they come out. Even after all of these devs leaving Platinum Games, look at Ninja Gaiden 4. Look what they can do even without their top developers in sight.
Yeah, if you have Team Ninja, make it holding the line.
Yeah. So it comes down to management at the end of the day. And like, people were like, oh, but the initiative was only like 20 something devs. They can't just manage Crystal Dynamics by it. Like, they need, bro. Sora Limited, Sakurai's company, is 2 people, him and his wife. And what do? They get a third-party developer like Bandai Namco, and they're able to manage this entire studio. I wouldn't say entire, but an entire team to make Smash Bros. And get it perfectly, like get it exactly how he wants it.
On the 3DS, on the Switch, it's amazing what they pulled off.
And you can say the same thing about the sports games. They get these third-party developers like Bandai Namco to make these games, and they're able to manage them, get these games out every 3 years. So it's not a studio problem. Not like 8 I'll say like 7 times out of 10. You can definitely have a bad studio, or a studio that just can't pull off what you're trying to get them to do. But most of the time, it's a management problem at the end of the day. So let's talk about management. Is it time, guys?
Wait, before we go, it's about to be my time.
Yeah, I was looking. Did you wanna say anything on the management, or you gotta go right now?
I mean, I could say, I've heard a lot about like this idea of like building culture, right? But like, I be thinking like the only real way to build culture is by keeping and sustaining the talent that you bring in, right? So I mean, like I know people want like Matt Booty to be gone and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like I kind of, he has his like past and stuff. Like, what did he do? Like not EA, but he was like Midway. Yeah, like he's had some like failures, but at the same time, it's like, if you want to establish culture, like you got to keep these people there to establish it, in my opinion. But that's all I really had to say about the management thing. But yes, I got to go. I apologize, family.
Yeah,
but hey, RK, thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. Amazing conversation. Super, super, what's it called? Motivated, like super, like, passionate about it. And I was feeling that. But thank you guys for having me. I guess I'll just plug my stuff real quick. Subegles at Twitch, Subegles on YouTube, Subeg Dollywell on Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. But yeah, check me out there. Thank you guys for having me today. I'll be back next week. But yeah.
Peace out, Brody.
Yes, sir.
Peace out, bro.
Thank you.
All right, now he's officially been replaced. Okay, RK, you are now my co-host. All right, I'm just kidding. But
Yo, be nice. Oh God.
so yeah, so let's talk about management. So, how are you feeling about? Is it time for heads to roll? Matt Booty, possibly Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer. Like, where do we go with this?
I don't. This is a hard one because we don't. It's hard to kind of pin. It's really hard to kind of cut the tumor because you don't know where the tumor originates from. Like, how are you supposed to like start the healing process if you don't know how to fix the problem? And even if you remove Matt Booty, even if you remove Sarah Bond, even if you remove Phil Spencer, as Cog mentions, like, who's going to be left kind of on Xbox? The money people that are a big part of all these awful decisions as of late. I don't really know what the best course of action is at this point. But I think going forward, if Xbox leadership still has a hand on the wheel, you gotta stop announcing games that clearly aren't like past a certain point. I think that's one of the biggest issues at Microsoft. Like, the fact that we have two high profile cancellations with Everwild and Perfect Dark, when you don't. During Xbox One, this happened multiple times. Like, this is the first time this generation that it's happened on this series, within the series generation. I guarantee you it's not going to be the last one. So Xbox can't be announcing games if they're not confident they're going to get across the finish line. Regardless, it's like there's as you mentioned, perfectly valid reasons why both Everwild and Perfect Dark didn't come out. Even if that was the case, you should, at least in the case of Perfect Dark, don't re-reveal the damn game. Because I imagine, like, if that wasn't real gameplay, you know the project was in trouble when you showed it off. So why did you show it off then? Why couldn't you just say, hey, we're not doing this anymore, but we have Crystal Dynamics working on something new, stay tuned, or something along those lines. Instead, you got people like you excited about this thing that's just not happening anymore. And what you know what? And you want to know what that forces? It forces this energy of, how can we trust you guys to do your job? Like, how can we trust you guys to help these developers get their projects across the finish line? Because we haven't heard anything on Contraband, even though we know Playground is an amazing studio. You know, if Fable still isn't out this year, and it got pushed back another year when it's been in development for so long, and we don't have a solid release date on Clockwork Revolution, like, yeah, these games still look really impressive, or seemingly be on the right track, but Perfect Dark seemingly looked like it was back on the right track, and look what happened. So I think for Xbox leadership, if they're gonna stick around and have a hand on the wheel next to Satya, actually, if you're gonna announce a project, make sure the project actually fucking comes out. Because now we're in a reality where we can't even trust Xbox announcements to actually release now. And I don't trust. And they can say, oh, all the things we announced are actually coming out. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Because why should I believe it when you were so confident in Perfect Dark? You was gassing it up. You was gassing up Everwild. So I think if Xbox leadership actually wants to, manage these projects well, don't announce the project unless it hits a certain threshold, like maybe 50% completion.
I mean,
or maybe sorry.
Yeah, to be fair, Everwild and Perfect Dark were like remnants of them still announcing games too early. But recently, we haven't seen them doing that. It's been announcements within at least 2 years of release, like, or even in cases like Ninja Gaiden, that was literally 9 months from announcement to release. Grounded 2, not even 2 months since the showcase. But
it's and they're learning, but
yeah, but like in the when the Series X came out, they really didn't have a choice but to announce games super early because they didn't have any games at launch. They didn't have any upcoming games because they just purchased all these studios. They just built a couple of studios, but none of these games were ready, as we can see, because we're still waiting on these games today. So what could they do but like show the promise of the future? You know? Now
we saw, yeah.
Now that now that they actually have these games coming out and they're finally hitting their cadence, now they're like, oh, you know, we're not gonna announce these games super far in advance. And that has been the case ever since like 2 years ago. Because I don't think we've gotten any kind of announcement where we're like, oh yeah, that's not going to be out for another 4 or 5 years. Actually, Blade was probably the last time.
But I feel like that's a case of just Marvel. The whole thing of Marvel being weird, because if Sony had a say in how Insomniac revealed their Marvel projects, Wolverine wouldn't even be announced right now. It would only be Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I really don't know what the solution is for Xbox management, because you bring up a good point about like the class of 2018 releasing games that just don't really hit the mark. They're like more 7, 8 out of 10 experiences, and that's another part of management. Like a big thing that Microsoft does is they're hands off in terms of a lot of like.
But you can also say like for every 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, you get Obsidian just out here just completely beasting. You have Indiana Jones just being an amazing game. Like, I mean, I love Starfield, so I'm not gonna say anything negative about it. Like, I loved what Starfield was, but obviously it didn't hit the mark for everybody.
You bring up great points, man. It just.
But it's been 50-50. That's a good way of saying it. It's been 50-50 when you would want it to be not
like 80.
like at least 70-30.
Yeah. I just hope this is I really hope that my kind of like, I can't trust them releasing games or studios being shut down next year. I hope that's just me being overly negative about the situation, and everything you're saying is on the money. But I can't trust them, especially since it seems like Microsoft is one of the because PlayStation recently did this with Last of Us Factions and Unaliving Contraband in front of our very eyes. Not Contraband. I'm getting game confused. Game names. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. And Concord and potentially Concord 2 Marathon and Concord 3 Haven Falls. Yes, it's too many Concords. I can't. But in all seriousness, like PlayStation only's really done this for the live service stuff that unfortunately they're kind of pigeonholed into after like being really kind of being taken off their feet with the whole Activision purchase and going all hands on deck for live service stuff. But usually PlayStation and especially Nintendo, they don't announce games and cancel them. They don't usually do that. They announce a game and it comes out. Microsoft is one of the few.
I wouldn't say PlayStation doesn't, Nintendo doesn't, but PlayStation has definitely canceled some single player games too after announcing them.
Now that I'm thinking about it, there was definitely a number of PS3 games that didn't come out. Yeah, you're right.
Deep Down. I mean, I guess that was Capcom, but Deep Down was supposed to be a PlayStation exclusive.
And that was playable.
Wild was also supposed to be a PlayStation game that didn't come out. We Twisted Metal was supposed to have a revival and go along with the show that got canceled. I guess that was a single player, but
then it leaked that, well, that's not multiplayer. It was a multiplayer Spider-Man game, but no, you're right. It's really Nintendo that doesn't have this issue. I don't know. I just hope that this is the last of it, because it's a shame to be excited about a game. You see gameplay of it, and it looks really good, but it just doesn't come out. I think that it's a different kind of aggravation that I felt during the whole Tango situation. I was just infuriated that a great game and a great studio was punished because it didn't meet like a specific sales target that Microsoft and Bethesda wanted, or other reasons like we mentioned earlier. With this, it just feels like hard decisions were made when these decisions didn't have to be made in the first place if Xbox management stepped in and helped these studios iron out the issues before it came to this issue right now. But I don't know. At this point, it's really hard to be excited about Xbox's future when I can't be confident in their software if it's not like a AAA thing releasing. But that's just me personally speaking. I'll love to be wrong about stuff.
Yeah. I'm still excited about Xbox, and I still see their lineup and think that they have one of the best lineups of games coming out in the next 2 years, or I should say this year or next year. And yeah, like I still feel that way. Xbox Game Pass is still the best service. Honestly, they just need to go ahead and add on to the chaos and increase the Game Pass prices too, just to really just piss
That's
everyone.
next.
Yeah, I know it's next, but they should get it over with now while people are already mad, instead of waiting until everything is good and then doing it. You know?
Imagine after this goes live, Xbox announces, oh, by the way, Game Pass is now $30 a month for Ultimate.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go that high. They're just gonna keep incremental up until in 2-3 years, then it's gonna be 30. But you won't see it coming because it was like, oh, it's only $2. Oh, it's only $1. Oh, it's only $2. Oh, it's only Wait, wasn't Game Pass like $15 a month like 2 years ago?
Yep.
3 years ago?
Yeah, that's how it for you. That's how it catches up with you. That's why I stacked up when I did. I'm good till 2027.
Yeah, CD keys will always come in clutch. Unlike PlayStation, who has basically banned game cards and key cards from being sold, basically forcing you to pay the full price for everything. But yeah, man. I so on the whole management thing, I've been defending Matt Booty for a while, and I'm still not on the train of getting rid of Matt Booty, like coming for Phil, all this. But I might got one more year. I'll give them one more year. If things like Halo Studios seems to be doing right, if Gears E-Day comes out and it hits, if Fable is as good as we all expected it to be, if things like that hit, then I'll be like, you know what, Matt Booty, we can. You've done more right than wrong. But we need to see. I'll give him one more year, because if the things that come out next year are not hidden, then I might have to change my tune with Matt Booty, bro. It might be time.
Honestly, like, I think that's a reasonable take to have, because those are the big pillar Xbox franchises, and if those get fucked up, oh god,
yeah,
people are gonna
If any of those games turn out as Halo Infinite and Forza Motorsport did, then we need to have a real conversation.
If they fuck up Forza in Tokyo, I'm gonna riot. Bro, how can, no way you can mess that up. No way. I want to drive through those cherry blossoms in beautiful 4K with amazing music playing in the background.
So with all of this, I always got to bring it back to Nintendo, like, because they're the, you can always just compare to Nintendo and see where you went wrong because you weren't trying to do what Nintendo was doing. So RIP to one of the greatest execs in gaming history, Satoru Iwata. Here's words from him that maybe people at Xbox need to hear. And he says, "I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software titles that could impress people."
He's absolutely correct. There's a reason why Nintendo, even during like some of the lowest points, like the Wii U generation, you got some really damn good games during that era. Because the developers felt comfortable making software. Like, they were able to make the games they wanted to make and not have to worry about like the looming cloud of a console failure.
Yep. There was I think they haven't, I think someone pointed out that like Nintendo has only lost like 2% of their staff since the beginning of the Switch, I want to say, but they keep hiring more and more employees every year
Because they're successful. And I mean, look at how well the Switch 2 has been doing since it just came out 1 month and potentially 5 million consoles. That's insane.
Oh, I actually forgot a topic, but it's
Oh.
okay. I just wanted to talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza being made by the Super Mario Odyssey team. And
As we all
yeah, as everyone except for Subeg said, so hashtag Subeg was wrong. I'm sorry that he wasn't here to feel the shame.
I played that damn game at the Nintendo event, and I immediately felt this was made by the Odyssey people.
I mean, I saw the first trailer and I said, yeah, this is made by the Odyssey people.
When you die, you know, in Odyssey, you get like the sound effect. When you lose 100 coins, that sound effect is carried right over. You have the shop thing in the trailers where DK and Pauline can wear outfits. You have like the idea of transformations being a thing. Pauline's in both games. Like, the animation looks very expressive, like in Odyssey.
Even the cutscenes look exactly how the Odyssey cutscenes looked.
Yep.
In the way that they're styled. So
absolutely.
That was really. I just wanted to rub it in just for Subeg, but he's not here, so.
Come on, we're celebrating the Bonanza. We're celebrating the amazing remixes. Yeah, Sticker Bush Symphony sounds so fucking good. Aquatic Ambience is gonna make me cry, man.
Oh, bro.
I'm not ready for that.
Be epic. What are you eating? Hey. Sorry, my dog is. Oh my god. Camera, what are you doing? There you go.
He's doing I see you, man. Is he coming through the screen?
But yeah, so that was our last topic. Anything you want to add on the whole Xbox situation? I guess we could end it on. I mean, you've already kind of said it, but how are you feeling about Xbox as a whole in the future after these layoffs? Just a quick wrap up.
That game output from what's announced at both what we had that have solid release dates and stuff that they showed off of kind of loose windows or no windows at all at the showcase. Everything, it's big games have never been the problem with Xbox. Xbox has genuinely, well, for me at least, that game output hasn't really been the issue, save for maybe Hellblade 2 not particularly being my cup of tea. Even though
I was going back to like Xbox One because it was definitely the problem then.
Oh no, yeah. When I talk about, I'm talking about the Series X generation specifically. I wasn't even part of the Xbox One generation. I got Xbox Series X was my first Xbox. For me personally, the whole multi-platform push and them kind of shifting from engagement being the number one priority and being the thing we care about versus we want to have sales numbers now that our eyes got a bit greener thanks to Call of Duty money coming in. I'm just kind of looking at them. Xbox is as a publisher of video games, they have a lot of great games under their belt as a publisher. And I'm never going to doubt that they have it in them to make good games as a publisher with their stable of studios and subdivisions. As a console maker, a lot of these decisions, to me personally, scream at like, oh, we happen to have a console, rather than we have a console and we really want to push this thing. And these decisions, like shuttering, like canceling games, publicly canceling games, and just have this whole situation with like, it's really, I don't know. For me, it's like, I grew like, yo, they have an amazing lineup of games after the showcase. That's the vibe I was feeling. And now I have this feeling of, yeah, but will I actually play Clockwork Revolution? Will I actually see a AAA Double Fine platformer in the next 2 years? And part of me is genuinely thinking, no, probably not. And that's a sad thought when I should be thinking, I have Game Pass, I have a Series X, I have a decent gaming laptop, I can enjoy that output without a problem for the next couple of years.
I mean, I don't think sorry, I'm forgetting her name now that you just mentioned. Double Fine will ever put out a AAA anything.
You know what I meant, like a Psychonauts 2 level platformer, if that makes sense. Yeah. I didn't mean, I should have corrected myself and be more specific, but just, I'm looking forward to their games and I'm looking forward to playing them, but at the same time, I'm so sick of all this negative discourse around Microsoft when they bring it upon themselves. Like, you didn't need to re-reveal Perfect Dark. You could have canceled it a lot earlier if that was something you intended on doing. Everwild you should have stepped in and helped Ray get that out the door before it came to a head and you didn't want to go ahead with it. Like, these situations just scream where we don't have confidence in some of our products when I don't get that vibe from Nintendo and other publishers. And Microsoft shouldn't be having this issue when they're by technicality, one of the biggest publishers in the gaming industry. We shouldn't be discussing the possibility of other studio closures or discussing this whole situation to begin with. We should be discussing like, oh, what's the next game coming from them? Not another round of layoffs and potentially another round of layoffs sometime early next year or in the summer again or something. It's just sad. I don't like the idea that at least once every year one of us is going to be writing an article about, oh, Xbox shut down studios. Like, it shouldn't be that case. This applies to other publishers too, mind you. Like, I'm sick of this publishers shutting down studios, games being canceled. This situation sucks. Like, how do you expect people to want to be excited and hopeful about this game industry when if you have 3 A's in your budget, it's a question mark if your thing is even going to come out the door and if your light's going to stay on. It's sad, and it just, I have nothing but like empathy and like hopes that every developer who got laid off or fired can find a better opportunity elsewhere. It's just sad, and I don't like discussing these situations.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I'm ever the optimistic person.
Thank God.
I'm still very excited about Xbox I really like. I'm confident I will see Clockwork Revolution. And I just I'm at the point where I just expect layoffs. I expect studio closures for all of these, like literally 80% of the industry at this point. There's just the rare 20% like Capcom, like Nintendo, who are just doing very well for themselves and aren't putting the money over their developers and their teams. But that is such a small subset that at this point is I that's why it's like, oh, it's fuck Xbox, but if it's fuck Xbox, it's literally fuck 80% of the industry because they're all doing it.
Absolutely. It's sad that it's
just
we're at this.
Or sorry, I was just gonna say it just hurts because I love Xbox. Like when EA has these layoffs and everything, it's like, well, fuck EA, who cares? Like I enjoy some EA titles, but for the most part, it's just I don't care about most of the things they're doing. And if Activision wasn't a part of Xbox, I would really like. It used to be fuck Activision too. I don't care about anything that was coming out of Activision. So when I saw layoffs and all this stuff happening with them, I'm like, I don't care. Like, but since this actually hits deep because it's a company that I love, it's like, damn. But I also feel like I can't just like if I don't react to if I am okay with an EA having layoffs, or I shouldn't say okay, but like I don't know. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to like go extra hard only on Xbox because like emotionally I want to because Perfect Dark was something I was looking forward to so much, but every time there's layoffs and it doesn't actually affect any game that I care about or studio closures or anything, I'm just like, you know what? Like it's like, passing thought. Who cares? And that's the reality of it. If you don't have any kind of passion for what the company's working on, you're not gonna. I'm not gonna say you won't care, but you won't care as much, obviously.
Well, as you probably can tell from how I described everything, I kind of get a bit like in the thick of it when this type of stuff happens.
So, all in all, I think the future of Xbox is still great. Phil Spencer said that they have 40 projects in the works. If 5 more get canceled, that's still 35 projects. I think that's pretty. That's better than most publishers. Probably even more projects than Nintendo has in the works right now. But Nintendo also like puts out games a little faster, so. But yeah, I'm upset about Perfect Dark. Not as upset about the initiative themselves. I'm actually a little upset about the ZeniMax Online because everything I was hearing about that game was something I would be excited about. Although I probably wouldn't ever have time to play it because it's an MMO.
Honestly, I was like, they deserve a chance to make a new IP because they've been a really good, consistent developer. It's not fair that this happened to them. But
I mean, I feel you, but at the same time, you go over budget. You're 2 years over the scheduled launch, and it still doesn't seem like the game is coming out soon. At some point, you gotta give. Like,
yeah, the shoe's gotta drop.
So it's understandable, but it's not enjoyable at the same time. But that's just going to be a common thing for the foreseeable future, it seems like, when it comes to this industry, until there's just some kind of collapse that happens, and then all that's left is Nintendo to be our overlords in the gaming space, and they somehow own everything and they're the sole provider. And that's what we're working towards. Actually, that's what the good ending would be. But with that, wait, go ahead.
This is such Lord King energy right now. We have this long discussion and you twist it around back to what matters the most. I love it.
But that's all I have to say on the topic. Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
All right.
That is it. That is all we have for you guys today. Thank you all for tuning in and all the people leaving comments in the chat. We do appreciate the support. Make sure you guys hit that like because we love you guys and it helps us grow this channel. If you're not subscribed and you enjoyed the show, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated for when Dual-Wield premieres. RK, Robert Kelly, I appreciate you for pulling up. You know you're our first guest on the show, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
At least on Dual-Wield. We had guests on Project Untitled, but you're the first guest on Dual-Wield, so it's a milestone.
Yeah.
But
thank you so much, man.
Oh yeah, appreciate you for sharing your time. I know it's a long show, but I'm glad you could run the gauntlet and replace Subeg for future episodes as well. Where can we find you and what you got going on?
I'm not replacing him. But you can find me at on Twitter at RK1283. You can find me on lordsofgaming.net, aka Lord Sonic. The most recent long form article I did was about the Switch 2 console review, the Pro Controller 2 review, and I got other stuff coming up in the future, including an article covering all this Xbox stuff as more information rolls out. And it's hopefully you guys don't mind me being a bit extra and a tad bit more emotional than usual about the whole Xbox discourse, but when it comes to layoffs and cancellations, that always kind of rubs me the wrong way, and I just want to make sure I just express how I feel effectively. But I had to have my good friend Don over here holding the line and kind of being real about things to balance things out. So thank you.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Always spreading positivity as long as it has nothing to do with Kojima. But as for myself,
you know what? It would have been perfect. It would have been. You know what? I genuinely don't click with Kojima stuff at all. So it's just really funny. You're completely. Nah, screw Kojima. Subeg is yeah, Kojima has some awesome stuff, and I'm right in the middle of I like Metal Gear Rising. Does that count?
Yeah, I love Metal Gear Rising, but I don't contribute Kojima to that. I love Metal Gear Solid 3, which is why I'm excited for Snake Eater remake.
Nice.
But everything Metal Gear Solid 4 and beyond, yeah, y'all can keep that.
Nano Machine, son.
But as for myself, Don Otaku, you can find me on Twitter at PastaFeetF3ET. You can find me on YouTube at Don Otaku. And you can find me on twitch.tv/Don Solo, SOLOW. And yes, you can find me right here on YouTube, Don Otaku, where not only are we doing Dual-Wield Gaming Podcast every Thursday, Saturday, live Project Untitled Gaming Podcast with some of my day ones. Definitely a little bit more hectic, maybe a lot more hectic than this one, but definitely fun. We read the comments, so make sure you guys drop some comments and we'll add you to the discussion as well. But of course, lordsofgaming.net, I got a few articles on the NCAA basketball stuff going on. What else did I put out? Honestly, I don't even remember, but I got a few articles that I put out the last couple of days, so you can check out those on lordsofgaming.net as well. And as far as for what I'm gonna be playing, I'm gonna be finishing up Fantasy Life, playing more Rematch, and that's really about it. But RK, any final words, any inspiring words or anything like that to get the people through the week?
You gotta live and learn.
That's good advice. It would be great if someone made a song like that, where
I know, I'll be
like,
crazy, but
so that like people can actually like get the message in song form. But
I know,
we don't have anything like that. So maybe
so
someday.
maybe someday, maybe you can find it in a game called Adventure 2 of the Hedgehogs or something. It's out there somewhere.
Weird title, but maybe.
All right.
You never know. All right, and with that, let's go ahead and get out of here. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your week, your weekend, month, year, life, all that. Peace out.